The Hinterkaifeck Murders are one of Germany's most infamous unsolved cases, enveloped in layers of mystery and a chilling ambience of isolation. This tragic event unfolded in 1922 in a remote farmstead situated in the rural Bavarian region near the village of Kaifeck. The grim story begins with the Gruber family, who lived on the farm. Andreas Gruber, the head of the household, had recently expressed concerns about eerie happenings at the homestead, including mysterious footprints in the snow leading to the house, but not away from it. This unsettling observation marked the beginning of a series of events that would end in tragedy. The Gruber family consisted of Andreas, his wife Cecilia, their daughter Victoria, her husband, who had recently passed away, and their grandchildren. In March 1922, the family had made arrangements for a visit from a neighbor, but when this neighbor failed to spot any activity at the farm and realized he had not seen the family for several days, concern grew. When he finally ventured to the farm, he was met with a horrific scene. The entire family had been brutally murdered. The evidence at the scene was harrowing. All members of the family had been killed with a hatchet, and the murders appeared to have taken place over the course of a few days. It became clear that follow-up visits from outsiders were tragically too late to save the family. Each room in the house told its own story of fear and aggression, with signs suggesting a struggle had taken place. What added to the eerie atmosphere was the discovery that the family's livestock, particularly the cows, seemed undisturbed in the barn, as if they had not realized anything was wrong. What is particularly perplexing about the Hinterkaifeck murders is the lack of clarity surrounding the identity of the perpetrator. The remoteness of the farmstead in the rolling Bavarian countryside provided ample opportunity for someone to commit the crime without witnesses. Additionally, the farmhouse was known to be somewhat isolated, with the nearest neighbor living a considerable distance away. The fact that the murders happened in such a secluded place only deepened the sense of dread that enveloped the community. Investigators quickly went to work, scrutinizing every detail for clues. They conducted interviews with neighbors and villagers, but found little to help in identifying a suspect. Speculation ran rampant, from theories about a disgruntled worker to tales of revenge stemming from family secrets. The Gruber family had been known to harbor disputes with a previous servant, which led some to consider this as a possible motive. But as the investigation progressed, no suspects were ever apprehended, and many avenues explored by the police led to dead ends. Over the years, numerous theories have emerged, and the case continues to captivate amateur sleuths and true crime enthusiasts alike. Some believe that the murders were the result of a robbery gone wrong, suggesting that someone had intended to steal valuables, but was surprised to find the family at home. Others lean towards a more sinister motive, perhaps a personal grudge or an act of revenge tied to an unknown vendetta. Tales of strange happenings and the eerie atmosphere have helped foster an enduring legacy surrounding the case. Interest in the case only grew thicker with time, drawing attention from authors, filmmakers, and investigators who sought to unravel the threads of this haunting tale. Each storyteller adds layers of intrigue to the narrative, weaving in elements of folklore and local legends that accompany the case. Furthermore, tales of hauntings have emerged over the years, claiming that the spirits of the Gruber family continue to linger at their farmstead. Particularly fascinating is the psychological aspect surrounding the events. The concept of fear and mistrust seemed omnipresent, mirrored by the chilling quotes from people who lived in the area after the murders, discussing how the events had affected their perceptions of safety. Neighbors reported that they could hear strange noises at night, and some even claimed to have glimpsed shadowy figures lurking in the distance. The arrival of police and onlookers stirred up a mix of horror, fascination, and dread amongst local residents. What truly solidifies the Hinterkaifeck case in true crime history is not only the brutal nature of the murders, but also the silence that followed. Here was a family who had experienced unimaginable terror, weeks of uncertainty, and finally, their end, completely unnoticed by the world outside their secluded home. The lack of any resolution or closure has left lingering questions that haunt the minds of those intrigued by this dark chapter. Decades have passed since that fateful spring in 1922, and yet the mystery of the Hinterkaifeck murders remain. The farmstead itself stands as a grim reminder of that night, now a tourist location due to its infamous association. While the mysteries that envelop the farmhouse may never be solved, the story persists, captivating a new generation of mystery seekers and giving a voice to all the unknowns that stay behind in the shadows of this haunting tale. Perhaps the most intriguing aspect of the Hinterkaifeck murders is that they serve as a reflection of human nature, our unyielding fascination with the unknown, and our relentless pursuit of answers, even when confronted with the most inexplicable of circumstances. In the quiet town of Fall River, Massachusetts, the year 1892 became infamous for a chilling series of events that continues to captivate the public's imagination. The Lizzie Borden case is filled with mystery, intrigue, and an unresolved quest for truth that has echoed through the decades, raising questions about guilt, innocence, and the nature of justice. Lizzie Borden was born on July 19, 1860, into a well-to-do family, the daughter of Andrew and Sarah Borden. The Bordens were known for their frugality, amassing considerable wealth through real estate and other ventures. Despite their wealth, the family dynamic was far from harmonious. Reports suggest that Andrew Borden was a strict and controlling father, creating an atmosphere saturated with tension. On the morning of August 4, 1892, the tranquility of Fall River was shattered by a horrific crime. Andrew Borden and his second wife, Abby, were found brutally murdered in their home. Andrew, discovered in the sitting room, bore multiple wounds from a hatchet or an axe. Abby was found in the upstairs bedroom, similarly attacked. The gruesomeness of the crime sent shockwaves through the small community, and soon all eyes turned toward Lizzie, the couple's youngest daughter. The investigation began rapidly, but the evidence was puzzling. Lizzie's behavior on the day of the murders raised eyebrows. She had been in the house at the time of the killings, outlining a timeline that seemed eerily convenient. Lizzie claimed that she had been in the barn when the murders were committed, but neighbors recalled hearing her angry outbursts shortly before the incident. As investigators delved deeper, they uncovered a web of family disputes and resentment, painting a complicated picture of motives. One of the most controversial aspects of the case revolved around the potential inheritance Lizzie stood to receive. Andrew had been known to be tough regarding financial matters, often refusing to share his fortune. This has fueled speculation that a motive of greed might have driven Lizzie to commit the crime. However, the prosecution struggled to present solid evidence linking her directly to the murders, leading many to question whether Lizzie was truly guilty or if she was merely a product of circumstance. The trial began in June 1893 and quickly became a media sensation. It attracted attention not only for the gruesome nature of the crime, but also for the sensationalism surrounding it. Society was particularly fascinated by the possibility of a woman committing such a brutal act. Throughout the trial, Lizzie maintained her innocence, compellingly presenting herself as a confused and distraught daughter caught in a tragic situation. Her demeanor appeared composed, and she received a level of sympathy that at times seemed to overshadow the evidence against her. As the prosecution struggled, the defense cleverly framed Lizzie's situation. They highlighted the lack of direct evidence, emphasizing the absence of witnesses and forensic proof linking her to the murder weapon, which was never found. The trial became a battleground for ideas about gender, privilege, and societal roles. Lizzie's status as an affluent woman positioned her in a unique light, allowing her to attract sympathy that may not have been awarded to a man in a similar situation. Ultimately, the jury found Lizzie Borden not guilty, much to the astonishment of the public. Following her acquittal, her life remained steeped in controversy. Despite her freedom, Lizzie and her older sister Emma would never fully reintegrate into society. They faced public scrutiny and judgment, living out their lives in the shadows of the notoriety that surrounded their family. After the trial, Lizzie Borden continued to live in Fall River, but made a conscious decision to change her name and distance herself from her past. She lived a relatively quiet life for several years, but the haunting specter of the murders followed her, complicating her efforts to lead a normal existence. The Borden home stood as a silent reminder of the brutality that had occurred within its walls, the instances of violence and tragedy that can cut through the mundane fabric of everyday life. The Lizzie Borden case serves as a window into the societal norms and legal practices of the late 19th century. It reflects the larger narratives about gender roles and the scrutiny faced by women, particularly when they stepped outside of the expected boundaries of femininity. The case evokes intrigue because it fundamentally questions how notions of guilt and innocence are shaped by public emotions, media interpretations, and personal beliefs. It is a story that continues to be analyzed and retold in books, films, and documentaries, as people remain fascinated by the unanswered questions that linger. What really transpired on that fateful day in August? Was Lizzie motivated by greed, or was she an innocent victim, ensnared in the complexities of family dynamics? How do we determine truth when faced with ambiguity and doubt? In exploring the Lizzie Borden case, we are not merely revisiting a historical event, but pitting our own interpretations against a backdrop of mystery that highlights the enduring human quest for understanding and justice. This complex tapestry of questions makes the Borden saga a timeless enigma that provokes discussion and analysis, ensuring that the story remains alive in the collective consciousness. Lizzie Borden's legacy lives on as a symbol of unresolved conflicts and the intricate dance between perception and reality. The Zodiac Killer is one of the most notorious unidentified serial killers in American history, captivating the public's imagination with a series of chilling murders and taunting correspondence that continues to baffle investigators and enthusiasts alike. This enigmatic figure emerged in the late 1960s, primarily operating around the San Francisco Bay Area. With a string of murders attributed to him, the Zodiac Killer's case remains unsolved, leaving families, law enforcement, and criminologists searching for answers decades later. The first confirmed victims of the Zodiac Killer were high school students Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday. On December 20th, 1968, they were shot in a remote area near Vallejo, California, after a holiday party. This brutal occurrence was just the beginning of a series of attacks that would both terrify the community and stoke the flames of national intrigue. The Zodiac Killer's choice of victims was often random, targeting young couples in secluded locations. The chilling pattern of his crimes revealed a bold and ruthless character. Almost a year after the murders of Jensen and Faraday, a second pair of young people fell victim to the killer. Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau were attacked in a parked car in July 1969. While Michael survived to recount the ordeal, the murderer's identity remained elusive. The brutality of this crime, coupled with the fact that the killer taunted the police and media, added to the tension surrounding the case. It was during this time that he sent his first confirmed letter to the press, claiming responsibility for the attack and boasting about his escapades. What made the Zodiac Killer notorious was his communication with the public and the authorities. In his letters, he included cryptograms, challenging readers to decipher their contents. One of these cryptograms, known as the 408 cipher, was cracked by amateur codebreakers, unveiling a disturbing message that hinted at the killer's identity and motivations. This interaction not only amplified interest in the case, but also demonstrated the killer's desire for recognition and control. The Zodiac's letters conveyed a sense of superiority, as he often mocked the police for their inability to catch him. He would send pieces of clothing and victim mementos, further instigating fear among the populace and creating a sense of urgency that the authorities struggled to meet. Investigators faced a significant challenge. Each letter was a game to the Zodiac, a twisted puzzle to solve while the clock ticked. In September 1969, the Zodiac Killer struck again, this time targeting a couple named Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard. At a lakeside picnic, he approached them, clad in a hooded costume, adorned with a crossed circle symbol, which would later become part of the infamous Zodiac logo. He brandished a gun and bound their hands with rope, demanding their wallets and cars. After committing the crime, he departed, leaving clues that would perplex authorities for years to come. The hunt for the Zodiac Killer intensified after each subsequent attack, yet several leads fell short of uncovering his identity. The combination of terror and fascination around the case fueled public discourse. The killer seemed to vanish and surface in cycles, communicating sporadically and ensuring that the mystery surrounding him would grow even deeper. After a series of murders, including that of the young woman named Kathleen Johns, who survived a harrowing encounter with the Zodiac, the profile of the killer began to form. He was perceived as intelligent, methodical, and audacious, using the media to his advantage and keeping the police on edge. As forensic techniques and criminal profiling evolved, evidence that was once overlooked began to be reanalyzed. However, the Zodiac Killer's identity still remained an unsolved enigma. Numerous suspects have surfaced over the years, with various individuals being brought forth as potential leads. Each new theory seemed to ignite fresh interest in the case, often leading to fervent debates among amateur sleuths and professional investigators alike. The annual gatherings at locations where the murders occurred often draw crowds curious about the dark narrative woven into the fabric of American crime history. Cultural depictions in film, television, and literature further solidified the Zodiac Killer's legacy. From documentaries exploring the case to films depicting the chilling narrative and the obsessive pursuit of the truth, the allure of the Zodiac resonates. The blend of real-life horror and mystery creates an ambience that intrigues and captivates. As years turned into decades, the possibility of finding the Zodiac Killer dimmed. However, advancements in DNA technology offer a glimmer of hope. With tools that scientists and detectives now possess, there could still be a breakthrough that leads to the resolution of this chilling case. Family members of victims, as well as the general public, carry forward the hope that justice may one day be served and the truth unveiled. The legacy of the Zodiac Killer still echoes through time, a reminder of the shadows that can linger in our society. His story serves as an exploration of human darkness and the complexities of criminal psychology. The case embodies the perpetual quest for answers amidst uncertainty. In this ongoing saga, the quest for justice remains essential, not just for the victims, but also for a society that strives to understand the forces that drive some individuals to commit the unimaginable. The mystery surrounding the Zodiac Killer continues to draw attention from true crime enthusiasts and scholars alike, ensuring that his story will persist in the public imagination for years to come. The unsolved nature of the case evokes a certain magnetism, leading many to delve into the psyche of one of history's most notorious figures, ever searching for the key that might unlock the secrets kept for far too long. The story of the Black Dahlia is one that has captivated the minds of people for decades. It revolves around the gruesome murder of Elizabeth Short, a young woman whose life was tragically cut short in 1947. Elizabeth, born in 1924 in Hyde Park, Massachusetts, had dreams of becoming a film star. Her striking looks and determination led her to Los Angeles, where she immersed herself in the vibrant but often dangerous world of Hollywood. In January 1947, Elizabeth Short's lifeless body was discovered in a vacant lot in Los Angeles. The horrific nature of the crime shocked the city and beyond. Elizabeth's body had been mutilated, and her murder was marked by an uncanny degree of precision that suggested a calculated killer. The scene was brutal. Her body was cut in half, and there were numerous cuts on her face, adding a surreal and grotesque aspect to a crime that would engross the nation. The media quickly seized upon the case. Elizabeth's dark hair and white skin, combined with her penchant for wearing black clothing, led to her being posthumously dubbed the Black Dahlia. This title alluded to a popular film of the time, The Blue Dahlia, emphasizing the intrigue and allure surrounding her life and tragic end. Newspapers ran sensational headlines, and stories about Elizabeth's gritty past and unfulfilled dreams became a phenomenon. She was depicted as a tortured soul, searching for her place in a glamorous, but often cruel, industry. Investigators faced various challenges in unraveling the mystery surrounding her murder. The case quickly became a whirlwind of leads and suspects, with many individuals claiming to have information or connections to the victim. People were drawn to the idea of a convoluted conspiracy or a sinister figure lurking in Hollywood's shadows, enhancing the drama of the narrative. Among the many individuals who came under the spotlight was a group of law enforcement officials, private detectives, and amateur sleuths, all driven to solve the enigma of the Black Dahlia. Theories emerged everywhere, from potential connections to famous criminals to suggestions that Elizabeth's murder was linked to Hollywood's sordid underbelly. People speculated that her connections with powerful men in the entertainment industry had ultimately led to her demise. The allure of Elizabeth Short transitioned from a tragic death to a series of enchanting tales, spun by the curious and the imaginative. What adds another layer of mystery to the Black Dahlia case is Elizabeth's own past. She was known to have had various relationships and was involved in a few tumultuous liaisons. Some stories suggest she may have crossed paths with dubious characters who could have turned against her. Yet, despite numerous interviews and investigations, Elizabeth's life before her murder remained shrouded in ambiguity. The allure of the unknown kept public interest alive, fueled by a seemingly endless parade of theories about who killed her. As the years went by, the fascination with the Black Dahlia case endured. Countless books, documentaries, and films have sought to explore her life, the circumstances of her death, and the many theories that have emerged. In the years following the murder, some took it upon themselves to revisit the details, hoping to shine a light on the case and bring closure to a tragedy that seemed never-ending. Reports of new leads continued to surface, often involving historical research and examining previously disregarded clues. Hollywood itself, with its propensity for myth-making, played a significant role in shaping the narrative around Elizabeth Short. Her tragic story has been romanticized and distorted over time, turning her into a symbol of forgotten dreams and unattainable fame. The elaborate tales of her life and death have transformed her into a legend, eliciting fascination from those who yearn to peel back layers of intrigue surrounding her existence. From investigative journalism to fictional portrayals, the saga of the Black Dahlia has lived on in the collective consciousness, inspiring an ongoing dialogue about ambition, vulnerability, and the darker aspects of fame. Even today, Elizabeth Short's murder remains an unresolved case, a thread that continues to weave its way through the fabric of true crime obsession. The unsolved mystery draws people to imagine the myriad of possibilities regarding her death, as new generations of enthusiasts delve into the details, discussing every angle and suggesting new theories. Each discovery brings with it a flurry of excitement and curiosity, as people wrestle with the question of what really happened on that fateful day in January 1947. The Black Dahlia case stands as a reminder of the complexities of human life, the fragility of dreams, and the echoes of our choices. While Elizabeth Short's life ended far too soon, her story continues to resonate, stirring emotions and provoking thoughts about the nature of fame, solitude, and the often hidden darkness that lurks beneath the surface. In this ongoing narrative, the legacy of the Black Dahlia not only serves as a testament to Elizabeth's life, but also invites reflection on the ways society engages with tragedy, memory, and the pursuit of truth in a world that can sometimes feel overwhelming. The journey into the past reveals that, even in death, there is still much to learn, understand, and discuss, all stemming from the untold story of one enigmatic woman. On November 24th, 1971, a seemingly ordinary day in the Pacific Northwest, an event took place that would become one of the most infamous mysteries in American history. A man who would later be known as D.B. Cooper stepped onto a Boeing 727 in Portland, Oregon, and changed the course of aviation security and criminal folklore forever. D.B. Cooper, who likely used a pseudonym, wore a dark suit, a white shirt, and a black tie. As he boarded the flight, he appeared unremarkable, blending effortlessly with the other passengers. From the start, he was calm and collected, exuding an air of confidence that would soon become legendary. Shortly after takeoff, Cooper handed a note to a flight attendant, indicating that he had a bomb and was hijacking the plane. Initially, the flight attendant dismissed him, thinking it was a joke. However, Cooper opened his briefcase, revealing what appeared to be a bomb. This revelation changed everything. The flight attendant realized the seriousness of the situation and quickly alerted the cockpit. The airline, Northwest Orient, was notified, and authorities began to respond. As the plane flew toward Seattle, Cooper's demands became clear. He wanted a ransom of $200,000 for parachutes, and a fuel truck standing by upon landing to facilitate a quick getaway. The authorities complied with his demands, determined to ensure the safety of the 36 passengers and crew members on board. The plane landed in Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, where the passengers were released. A plane full of hostages was a high-stakes game for Cooper, and while the flight crew worked diligently to ensure everyone's safety, there was an underlying tension as the FBI worked to prepare the ransom delivery. Cooper received the ransom, and with the hostages released and the authorities seemingly at his mercy, he had one free chance left to disappear. He chose to leave the plane by jumping from the rear stairs into the inky blackness of the Pacific Northwest, somewhere over rugged terrain, with the ransom money secured tightly in his possession. When the FBI began its extensive investigation, It became apparent that identifying this mysterious hijacker would not be simple. Cooper had vanished without a trace, and the authorities were left to piece together the few clues they had. His disappearance sparked a massive manhunt, but despite extensive searches, including soaking the dense forests of Washington and Oregon, no sign of Cooper or the ransom money was ever found. The legend of D.B. Cooper turned him into a folk hero of sorts, a symbol of the perfect crime against a backdrop of a time when hijacking was relatively rare. Speculation ran rampant about who he might be and what had happened after he parachuted out of the plane. Various theories emerged. Some suggested he was a seasoned paratrooper with an intimate knowledge of skydiving, while others claimed he may have been a disgruntled veteran or an ordinary man driven to the criminal act out of desperation. The FBI launched an unprecedented investigation labeled NORJAC, which stands for Northwest Hijacking. Over the years, an array of tips and claims flooded law enforcement, leading to numerous suspects, but none could be definitively linked to the case. People from all walks of life were pointed to, but none matched the description of the suave hijacker with the cool demeanor. With every passing year, the mystery deepened. In 1972, the FBI released a composite sketch of Cooper, describing him as a man in his 40s, about 6 feet tall, and weighing approximately 180 pounds. However, with no solid leads, the case gradually went cold, despite being continually reopened with fresh eyes in the following decades. D.B. Cooper's tale took on a mythic status, becoming a subject of movies, documentaries, and countless books. Some people took it upon themselves to decipher the code left behind by Cooper in the FBI documents, contributing to the endless fascination with the case. Amateur sleuths scoured newspapers and interviewed retired law enforcement officials in their quest to uncover the truth. The financial aspect of the hijacking is equally intriguing. The FBI had no way of knowing just how many written accounts of Cooper's demands were collected and how many stories had been spun in discussions around the country. The money he took with him was never recovered. In 1980, a young boy found a decaying package containing a few bundles of the ransom money in the Columbia River, but this only added more intrigue and questions, rather than providing closure to the case. As the years rolled on, various theories debated what might have happened to him after that fateful night. Some theorized that he must have perished during the jump, unable to safely navigate the inclement conditions of the forest and mountains of the Pacific Northwest. Others believed that he managed to escape and re-enter society, perhaps starting a new life under a different name, living amongst the shadows of a life well out of reach of the long arm of the law. The D.B. Cooper mystery would lay dormant for nearly 4 decades, until a resurgence of interest hit in the late 2000s. Filmmakers and true crime enthusiasts found in Cooper's story a rich tapestry of intrigue and suspense, rekindling the flames of speculation. Various documentaries revisited the evidence and forwarded new theories, each one adding a layer to the existing narrative. Ultimately, D.B. Cooper has become more than just a hijacker. His story is a reflection of a bygone era when things were simpler yet far from secure. Through the lens of time, the mystery remains, continuing to capture imaginations while leaving us pondering the possibility of one man pulling off the ultimate heist and disappearing into thin air, a ghost of the skies. In the autumn of 1888, a series of gruesome crimes shook the streets of London, igniting the imagination of the public and fueling the fascination with one of history's most infamous figures, Jack the Ripper. This elusive character operated in the Whitechapel district, an area rife with poverty, where the shadows seemed to harbor secrets and danger lurked in every corner. Jack the Ripper was not just a murderer. He became a sinister symbol of the fear and uncertainty that permeated Victorian society. The victims, primarily women, were found in the early hours of the morning, their bodies horrifically mutilated. This chilling pattern sent shockwaves through London, stirring panic and curiosity in equal measure. Each discovery was coupled with a fear that gripped the community, amplifying rumors and heightening tensions within the city. The identity of Jack the Ripper has been a captivating mystery for over a century. Despite extensive investigations, the authorities were unable to capture this killer, who seemed to disappear as quickly as he struck. The police received a flood of letters. Some claimed to be from the Ripper himself, taunting the incompetence of law enforcement and creating an aura of dread that accompanied his heinous act. The infamous Dear Boss's letter is one such correspondence, with its distinctive signature that would later lead to the adoption of the name Jack the Ripper. The Victorians themselves were markedly fascinated by the macabre. Penny dreadfuls, cheap sensational publications, flourished, often featuring stories inspired by the grisly events unfolding in Whitechapel. The public couldn't get enough of the Ripper's escapades, transforming him into a figure of folklore, discussed in hushed tones over tea and whispered in gaslit parlors. It was a time when the line between reality and sensationalism began to blur, and the emergence of the media played a pivotal role in amplifying the Ripper's notoriety. Victorian London was undergoing significant social changes, with rapid urbanization leading to vast disparities in wealth. The working-class neighborhoods, heavily populated by immigrants and the impoverished, were contrasted sharply by the affluent classes residing elsewhere. The crimes committed by Jack the Ripper underscored the grim realities faced by many in society, exposing the darker side of the bustling metropolis. The victims, often sex workers, were viewed through a lens of both morbid curiosity and societal disdain, a duality that continues to raise ethical questions about the treatment of individuals who found themselves in desperate circumstances. The investigation into the Ripper's identity was hampered by the lack of forensic science that we take for granted today. Police relied on eyewitness accounts and the testimonies of locals, but the fog of Victorian London often clouded the truth. Numerous suspects were scrutinized, from local traders to doctors, each with their own set of motives and peculiarities. Yet, none of these theories led to substantial breakthroughs, leaving a gaping hole in the narrative of justice that permeated public discourse. As the murders continued, societal pressure mounted on the police, demanding answers. The press coverage was relentless, keeping the story alive in the minds of the populace, fueling fears that anyone could be the next target. Vigilante groups formed, and citizens banded together, conducting their own patrols, desperate to catch this elusive phantom before he struck again. The hunt for Jack the Ripper became a collective obsession, turning Whitechapel into a hub of suspicion and anxiety. Despite multiple leads and suspects, the case gradually went cold. As winter approached, the number of murders dwindled, and with it, the public's focus shifted. But the shadow of Jack the Ripper never completely faded away. His legend grew, entwining with the fabric of London's history, and giving birth to countless theories, movies, books, and documentaries. As time marched on, amateur sleuths have debated the identity of Jack the Ripper, discussing potential connections and motives. Some have suggested psychological profiles based on the patterns of violence, while others delved into the socio-economic context of the era. This debate continues to generate interest, allowing new generations to engage with the mystery and consider the implications of this historical figure. Jack the Ripper's story serves as a reminder of the darker elements of human nature and societal failings. It urges us to contemplate the lives lost and the lives overshadowed by stigma and neglect. He is more than just a notorious killer. He embodies the fears of a society grappling with rapid change, standing as a testament to the complexities of crime, punishment, and memory in the grand tapestry of history. Even today, the Ripper's influence can be seen in popular culture, influencing everything from literature to horror films. He is a testament to the human fascination with the dark side of existence and serves as a cautionary tale of the potential that lies behind closed doors in any community. The chilling enigma of Jack the Ripper endures, captured not only in the pages of history, but also in our collective psyche, urging us to explore the shadows that dwell within us all. The JonBenét Ramsey case is one of the most perplexing and widely publicized murder investigations in American history. In the early hours of December 26, 1996, the 6-year-old beauty queen was reported missing by her parents, John and Patsy Ramsey, living in Boulder, Colorado. What followed was a series of events that captivated the nation and continues to spark debate and speculation. JonBenét was a child pageant star who had already gained notoriety for her participation in various beauty contests. Her parents were prominent members of the Boulder community, which added a layer of intrigue to the case. On that fateful morning, Patsy Ramsey discovered a ransom note in their home. The note was a striking piece of writing, spanning 2.5 pages and containing various demands and instructions. It claimed that JonBenét had been kidnapped and demanded a ransom of $118,000, a figure that was eerily close to John Ramsey's annual bonus as the president of a successful business. What made the note particularly puzzling was its peculiar style. The language was oddly formal, using phrases that seemed inconsistent with a typical ransom note. The author demonstrated an understanding of the Ramseys' affluence while simultaneously expressing a sense of urgency. Law enforcement later revealed that there were no signs of forced entry into the home, leading many to question the authenticity of the kidnapping claim and whether the note was written by someone close to the family. As the investigation unfolded, it became evident that the Ramseys were not cooperating fully with police, which further fueled speculation and criticism from the public and the media. On December 26th, just hours after the note was discovered, the family dog alerted John Ramsey to a strange sound coming from the basement. It was in that dark, secluded area of their home that JonBenét was eventually found, tragically deceased. The discovery was shocking, sending ripples through the community and across the nation, as the image of the young girl with her pageant curls now became one of sorrow. The forensic evidence collected from the scene sparked further complexity in the investigation. Autopsy results revealed signs of trauma, suggesting that she had been subjected to physical violence, and there was also evidence of sexual assault. However, despite exhaustive forensic scrub and testing, no definitive match for a suspect was ever established. The evidence gathered was troubling but frustratingly elusive, contributing to the ongoing mystery surrounding her death. Over the years, various theories regarding JonBenét's death emerged. Some speculated that a stranger might have intruded into the family home, while others suggested that the murder was the result of an accidental death that the family attempted to cover up. The shadow of doubt loomed over the Ramseys themselves, as police began to explore the possibility that someone within the family may have known more than they were revealing. Media attention and public fascination only intensified, leading to a cycle of speculation that seemed unending. As time went on, the JonBenét Ramsey case became emblematic of America's media frenzy, showcasing how the public can become engrossed in the complexities of a crime that remains unsolved. Numerous documentaries, books, and theories emerged, each providing different perspectives and insights into the evidence and how it was handled. Some suggested the involvement of an unidentified intruder, while others proposed that the motives were far closer to home, possibly originating from a family member or acquaintance. In 2008, after years of investigation, the Boulder District Attorney's Office officially cleared John and Patsy Ramsey as suspects. However, to this day, the questions surrounding the case remain unanswered, and JonBenét's tragic story continues to haunt those who became involved. Despite the extensive media coverage and rigorous investigation, her case remains cold, a haunting reminder of a life cut short and the complexities of a justice system struggling to provide closure. The JonBenét Ramsey case has led to discussions about parental rights, the safety of children, and the impact of media on criminal investigations, all themes that remain relevant. It serves as a chilling example of how one tragic event can transform into a national phenomenon, merging the worlds of crime and media in ways that can often overshadow the basic issue at hand, the life of a young child lost. To this day, the whispers of what occurred inside that home in Boulder have not been silenced. Each passing year leaves behind a legacy of unanswered questions and continued public interest. What happened to JonBenét Ramsey remains a haunting mystery, one that provokes thoughts about vulnerability, innocence, and the often inevitable human desire for resolution in the face of tragedy. The Isabella, Stewart, Gardner Museum heist is one of the most enigmatic and captivating art thefts in history. On a chilly March night in 1990, two men, disguised as police officers, entered the museum located in Boston, Massachusetts. Their actions that night would set off a mystery that remains unsolved to this day, with masterpieces worth an estimated $0 million vanishing into thin air. The Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum is remarkable not just for its collection, but also for its unique architecture and ambience. Founded by the renowned art collector Isabella Stewart Gardner, the museum is designed as a Venetian palazzo filled with a stunning array of art. Visitors can stroll through its lush courtyard, surrounded by centuries-old paintings, sculptures, and decorative art. Each room is curated to resemble a particular period or style, showcasing everything from European masterpieces to Asian artifacts. On the night of the heist, the thieves gained access to the museum by impersonating police officers who were investigating a reported disturbance. Once inside, they quickly overpowered the security guards, tying them up in the basement. In less than an hour, the intruders made their way through the museum, gathering an astonishing array of artwork. Among the stolen pieces were masterpieces by artists such as Vermeer, Rembrandt, and Degas. One of the most famous works taken that night was Vermeer's The Concert, a captivating piece that depicts a group of musicians. The other was a Rembrandt painting known as The Storm on the Sea of Galilee, which is not only valued for its artistry, but also for its historical significance. Alongside these, 3 other works were stolen, including several sketches by Degas and a Chinese vase that had deep cultural value. The audacity of the crime and the estimated value of the stolen artwork have turned the heist into a cultural phenomenon. The museum offered a reward of $0 million for information leading to the recovery of the artworks, a staggering sum that has likely heightened interest from both amateur sleuths and professional criminals alike. However, despite numerous leads and investigations spanning decades, the art has never been found. Over the years, many theories have surfaced about what happened to the pieces. Some speculate that the artwork was destroyed or lost in transit, while others believe it could be hidden in private collections or art markets. The case remains an open investigation, and the FBI continues to pursue leads, hoping to one day solve the mystery of this audacious crime. The impact of the heist extends beyond just the loss of art. It has raised significant questions about museum security and the protection of cultural heritage. Following the theft, museums worldwide re-evaluated their security protocols and increased their efforts to protect their collections. The incident has also sparked a wave of documentaries, books, and even films, illustrating society's fascination with the gritty world of art theft. In addition to its historical significance, the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum heist serves as a reminder of how art can captivate and mystify. Each stolen piece carries with it not just artistically, but also emotionally charged connections, stories of inspiration, and cultural dialogues that resonate through time. The idea that such treasured works could simply vanish adds a layer of intrigue that draws people in, fueling their imaginations and desires for adventure. As the years pass, the legend of the Gardner heist continues to grow. Art enthusiasts, historians, and investigators remain committed to uncovering the truth. The museum itself claims that the stolen artworks still belong to it. In a remarkable gesture, the museum doesn't replace the stolen art, but instead leaves the frames empty, serving as a poignant reminder of what once was there. The warmth and charm of the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum remain untouched by the heist. Visitors still flock to the building, finding solace and inspiration within its walls. The mystery of the missing masterpieces has become part of the museum's narrative, drawing the attention of art lovers, treasure hunters, and the curious alike. Every year the museum hosts lectures, exhibitions, and events aimed not only at educating visitors about its history, but also at nurturing a love for art and culture. The stories of the stolen masterpieces live on, intertwining with the lives of those who visit. Conversations around the heist create a sense of shared history, an ongoing dialogue about loss, value, and the lengths humans will go to protect that which is precious. In the world of artistic expression and cultural heritage, the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum heist remains a passionate discussion point, inviting exploration and reflection. The hope persists that one day the masterpieces will re-emerge, not just as stolen artworks, but as symbols of resilience, reminding us of the beauty and fragility of creativity in the ebb and flow of human history. In September of 1996, a tragic event unfolded in Las Vegas that would leave a lasting impact on the music world and spark countless discussions about violence in hip-hop culture. Tupac Amaru Shakur, widely regarded as one of the most influential and talented rappers of all time, became the victim of a drive-by shooting that shocked fans and artists alike. His life was cut short at the age of 25, but his legacy continues to resonate through his music and the messages he conveyed. The night of September 7th began with a seemingly banal experience. Tupac was attending a boxing match between Mike Tyson and Bruce Seldon at the MGM Grand Hotel. This night would take a dramatic turn, leading to one of the most infamous moments in hip-hop history. After the match, Tupac and his entourage were involved in a confrontation with a rival gang member, which fueled growing tensions in the streets of Las Vegas. As Tupac left the MGM Grand, he was seen driving in a black BMW with his friend, Suge Knight, the head of Death Row Records. The atmosphere in the car was electric, not only because of their recent exposure to the fight, but also due to the thrill of fame and success that surrounded Tupac. Little did they know, danger was lurking around the corner. Around 11:15 p.m., as they approached the intersection of East Flamingo Road and Koval Lane, a white Cadillac suddenly pulled up alongside them. Gunfire erupted, and multiple shots were fired, striking Tupac multiple times. The chaos unfolded rapidly. In the blink of an eye, Tupac was critically injured, and the driver, Sujanite, sustained minor injuries. The gunman fled the scene, and despite the immediate panic, help arrived. But Tupac's condition was grave. In the days that followed, esteemed medical teams worked tirelessly to save him, but Tupac succumbed to his injuries 6 days later, on September 13th. His untimely death sparked a wave of grief among fans, friends, and family. It also ignited an investigation that would ultimately prove to be nothing short of perplexing and unsolved. Despite the initial efforts of law enforcement, no arrests were made in connection with Tupac's murder. Over the years, various theories emerged regarding who might have been responsible for the shooting. Some pointed fingers at rival gang affiliations, while others suggested a complex web of personal feuds, citing the scale of Tupac's fame and the enmity it sometimes attracted. As time passed, speculation swirled like smoke in the air, fueled by rumors and conspiracy theories. Some believed that Tupac's music was a reflection of the struggles he faced, dealing with systemic issues, violence, and personal demons. His songs often addressed themes of racial inequality and social justice, making him a voice for the marginalized. This depth of lyricism and storytelling captivated millions, which is why his abrupt departure felt like a loss not just to fans, but to a whole movement. As years turned into decades, Tupac Shakur became more than just a fallen star. He transformed into a symbol of resistance. His life and legacy have been subject to analysis in a multitude of academic texts, documentaries, and songs from a generation that still feels the ripples of his impact. The ongoing fascination with his story demonstrates the power of his artistry, which continues to inspire artists and fans worldwide. The search for answers surrounding Tupac's death remains unresolved. Many law enforcement officials have theorized that the case is cold due to a lack of cooperation from witnesses, who were often too frightened to come forward. The culture surrounding hip-hop at the time was fraught with tension, and loyalty to street codes often prevented crucial information from surfacing. Additionally, the nature of celebrity itself complicates things. The more prominent a figure is, the more power dynamics come into play, and the more dangerous it can sometimes be to reveal the truth. As a result, the pursuit of justice in Tupac's case has become intertwined with the complexities of fame, rivalry, and the quest for resolution. Over the years, public interest has fueled various documentaries and movies that delve into Tupac's life, career, and the mystery of his death. These narratives aim to unearth not only the man behind the legend, but also the societal issues that contributed to his violent demise. Fans dissect his lyrics, search for clues, and debate the motives of those who may have been involved. This enduring fascination underscores how impactful Tupac Shakur was and continues to be. Today, Tupac's music is cherished as timeless, and his contributions to hip-hop are beyond compare. He remains a pivotal figure in discussions about art, culture, and the intersections of race, class, and identity. As the years continue to pass, the questions surrounding his murder linger in the air, serving as a painful reminder of the fragility of life and the far-reaching consequences of violence. With each anniversary of his passing, tributes resonate across the globe. Concerts celebrate his music, art exhibits showcase his influence, and discussions revive his legacy, ensuring that his voice remains a powerful force. The journey of understanding Tupac Shakur is ongoing, and while answers may still elude us, his spirit endures, inviting new generations to engage in the narratives he wove through his compelling artistry. In a world hungry for stories that reflect the human experience, Tupac's life and his art will always hold profound significance. In the quiet neighborhoods of Philadelphia in 1957, a chilling mystery unfolded that continues to haunt the city to this day. In a secluded area known as Fox Chase, the body of a young boy was discovered, leading to one of the most perplexing unsolved cases in American history. This boy, who remains unidentified, is often referred to as the boy in the box. The circumstances surrounding his tragic end are both heartbreaking and mysterious, inviting curiosity and speculation for decades. The story began on February 25, 1957, when a local resident stumbled upon a cardboard box tucked away in the woods. It was a shocking find, as the box, which had once been used to hold a bassinet, contained the lifeless body of a child. He was approximately 4 to 6 years old, with light brown hair and blue eyes. The boy's frame was small, and he displayed signs of malnourishment, suggesting he had endured a difficult life before his untimely death. Authorities immediately launched an investigation into the circumstances of the boy's death. They sought to establish his identity and find out who he was and how he met such a tragic fate. Despite thorough searches, extensive media coverage, and pleas for help from the public, no one came forward to identify the boy, and leads were scarce. His image, released to the public, showed a child who appeared to be well-dressed, leading investigators to believe that he may have been loved at some point in his life. As the investigation unfolded, local authorities described signs of abuse on the child's body, indicating he may have faced physical violence before his death. This revelation only deepened the mystery, leading detectives to ponder the events that might have transpired leading to that fateful day. Various theories emerged, speculating on the boy's background and the circumstances surrounding his arrival to the woods. One of the more unsettling theories suggested that the boy could have been the victim of a troubled home situation. Social workers, investigators, and detectives tried to reach out to potential families who had children missing, looking for any connection that might lead to answers. Flyers and photographs of the boy circulated widely, both within the local community and beyond. Many came forward, expressing their condolences and sorrow, but none could provide answers to the questions surrounding his identity. As time progressed, many attempts were made to reconstruct the boy's facial features based on the forensic evidence available. Artists, utilizing state-of-the-art techniques at that time, created renditions of what the boy might have looked like while he was alive. These artistic representations were displayed in various media outlets, but they still failed to bring forth any solid leads. The boy in the box case captured the attention not only of local media, but also of national audiences, placing immense pressure on law enforcement to solve the mystery. Several individuals claimed to have information related to the boy. However, most tips were either unproductive or inconclusive. The investigators faced a formidable hurdle to identify a child who seemingly had no known family or history to follow. Years passed, and the case began to fade from the spotlight, but the tragedy never left the hearts of those who were aware of it. Community members, and even people from places far away, felt compelled to remember the young boy who had been treated so cruelly in life. The story endured through the decades, evolving somewhat into an urban tale of caution about the harsh realities many children face. In the 1980s, a significant breakthrough occurred when a man named John, who claimed to have information about the boy's identity, initiated contact with law enforcement. He asserted that the child belonged to a family in the area, stating that he had witnessed neglect and abuse. Unfortunately, this lead did not culminate in the resolution of the case, leaving investigators and the community in renewed heartache. Today, the mystery of the boy in the box continues to captivate amateur sleuths, documentary filmmakers, and true crime enthusiasts. Some individuals carry on the fight to bring closure, dedicating time to reopening the case for modern investigation with advances in forensic technology. One key element has remained constant, an enduring desire to honor the memory of this nameless child and seek justice on his behalf. There are countless questions that linger in the air. Who was this boy? Where did he come from? What led to his untimely end? Though his identity remains a secret, the boy in the box remains a symbol of the thousands of children who face adversity, neglect, and abuse, bringing attention to the importance of child welfare and protection in society. His spirit is preserved not only in the hearts of the community, but also serves as a poignant reminder of the necessity for vigilance, compassion, and action in the face of such tragedies. As you remember this case, think of it as an invitation to reflect on the fragility of life and the importance of kindness. The unfortunate fate of the boy in the box serves to remind us of the responsibility we have to one another, especially for those who cannot speak for themselves. It is a story that, while filled with sorrow, challenges us to remain vigilant, compassionate, and always ready to protect the most vulnerable among us. In the early hours of Christmas Eve in 1945, a tragic event unfolded in the small town of Fayetteville, West Virginia. The Sodder family, a close-knit and hard-working family, became the center of a haunting mystery that has captivated people for decades. The Sodder parents, George and Jenny, had 10 children, but on that fateful night, 5 of their beloved children vanished without a trace during a devastating house fire. The fire erupted at approximately 1 o'clock in the morning. George and Jenny, who were sleeping in their home, awoke to the smell of smoke and the crackling sound of flame. They quickly realized that their house was engulfed in fire. The couple managed to escape, along with their 4 surviving children, but the 5 eldest were unaccounted for. 14-year-old Maurice, 12-year-old Martha, 10-year-old Louis, 8-year-old Jenny, and 5-year-old Dettie. As they stood outside in the freezing night air, panic set in. George hurriedly attempted to re-enter the home, desperately trying to find his children. However, the flames were too fierce, and he was forced to retreat. Firefighters arrived, but by the time they extinguished the fire, the house was reduced to smoldering ruins. Initially, the authorities believed all 5 children perished in the blaze. However, there were peculiar circumstances surrounding the incident. The Sodders were told that their children's bodies were not found in the ashes. This lack of remains led to speculation and sparked an idea that shook the family to its core. Could their children still be alive? It was a notion that George and Jenny could not dismiss. The Sodder parents began their relentless quest for answers, launching their own investigation. They encountered various claims that their children might have been abducted. A local bus driver told them he had seen the 5 Sodder children get on a nearby bus, headed towards a distant location on the night of the fire. This testimony fueled their belief that something extraordinary had occurred. In their search for the lost children, the Sodders put up a billboard on Route 16, displaying photographs of their children and offering a reward for any information leading to their whereabouts. Soon, tips began pouring in. Some individuals reported sightings of the children living in different states or even places as far away as New York. They received letters containing photographs eerily similar to their children's faces, suggesting they had been spotted alive. The family's inquiry took a strange turn when they learned about an alleged connection between the fire and the local mafia. George Sodder was a vocal critic of organized crime in West Virginia, and some theorized that the fire was a warning, a consequence of his stance. As more details emerged, the investigation stirred up intense speculation and intrigue, prompting countless theories about the fate of the children. Despite not having concrete evidence, the Sodders never gave up hope. They continued to pursue leads, even hiring private investigators and pursuing interviews with those who claimed to have seen their children. Meanwhile, they remained haunted by unanswered questions. What truly happened that night? Where were their children? Were they safe, or were they living under altered identities? The years passed, and the mystery only deepened. As the children grew older, the possibilities seemed endless, yet time was slipping away. The parents maintained their hope, refusing to let go of the belief that their children would one day come home. They remained vigilant, continuously exploring every avenue that might lead them to their beloved children. In 1968, George and Jenny had the opportunity to visit a psychic who claimed to have insights into the case. They were told that their children had been taken and were alive somewhere. This revelation propelled the couple to continue their pursuit with renewed energy, dedicating their lives to finding what remained of their family. The story of the Sodder children inspired many and became a cautionary tale that stirred the imaginations of those who learned about it. Newspapers across the country chronicled their search, and their journey became synonymous with the enduring hope of family and resilience. Even today, decades later, the case remains open-ended, with theories still circulating and new interest in the investigation surfacing from time to time. As years turned into decades, George and Jenny never abandoned their quest. They sought closure not only for themselves, but also for their family and community. Their unwavering determination forged a story that is both heart-wrenching and inspiring, a tale of familial love interwoven with the eerie threads of mystery and intrigue. The Sodder family's story is a reminder of how the unknown can haunt the lives of those left behind. The courage they displayed in the face of uncertainty remains a testament to a parent's love and the lengths to which they will go for their children. Even now, the fate of the 5 Sodder children continues to elude unraveling, a reality that resonates deeply with anyone who hears their story. Though many years have passed since that tragic night, the memory of the Sodder children endures, their names preserved in history as a reminder of mystery, hope, and the unyielding bond of family. Their disappearance remains a captivating enigma, illustrating the power of love and the quest for truth in the face of unimaginable loss. In the quiet town of Villisca, Iowa, nestled among the rolling hills and peaceful farms, a horrific event unfolded in the summer of 1912 that would haunt the community forever. The West family, consisting of Josiah and Sarah, along with their 4 children and 2 visiting girls, were brutally murdered in their own home, a crime that remains unsolved to this day. On the night of June 9, 1912, the Wests returned home after an evening of attending a local church event. They settled into their cozy beds, likely tired and content from their time spent in the comforting company of friends. But unbeknownst to them, lurking in the shadows was an unknown perpetrator with sinister intention. The following morning, a neighbor, concerned when the family did not emerge, ventured into the West home to find a scene of unimaginable horror. The bodies of the 8 victims were discovered, each brutally struck multiple times with an axe. This unthinkable crime sent shockwaves through the town and beyond, as the gruesome nature of the slayings was revealed. Investigators quickly arrived on the scene to piece together the events of that fateful night. They examined the house, taking note of the overturned furniture and the scattered belongings, an indication of the struggle that must have taken place before the brutal killing. The axe, which belonged to the West family, was found at the scene further complicating the investigation. The small town of Villisca was not accustomed to violence. The murders created an atmosphere of fear and paranoia as residents speculated about who could commit such an atrocity. Rumors spread like wildfire, and with no clear leads, suspicion fell on various individuals. Some believed it to be the work of a transient or a drifter passing through the town, while others speculated that it could be a personal vendetta against Josiah West, who was known to be an outspoken individual with a strong sense of justice. As the investigation progressed, several suspects arose, but without concrete evidence, authorities struggled to make an arrest. One notable suspect was a traveling salesman named Frank Jones, who had a possible motive related to business rivalry, but the case against him was circumstantial at best. Other potential suspects included a local man named William Mansfield, who had a history of violent behavior and claimed to have been in the area at the time of the murders. Despite local and national attention, including a sensational trial that captivated the public's imagination, the truth behind the Villisca Axe murders remained elusive. Investigators conducted interviews, chased leads, and even consulted psychics, but the mystery only deepened. The lack of modern forensic techniques and the resources available at the time hampered their efforts, and ultimately, many of the leads turned out to be dead ends. As the years went by, the case transformed into a legend. Ghost tours, books, and documentaries emerged, exploring the haunted history of the Villisca house. The gruesome event took on a life of its own, fueling fascination and fear. The home eventually became a tourist attraction, inviting curious visitors to step inside the space where the murders occurred. They came seeking a connection to the past, hoping to catch a glimpse of the spirits said to roam the halls. People often report feelings of unease or encounters with strange occurrences within the house. Some claim to hear whispers, footsteps, or to catch fleeting shadows out of the corner of their eye. The legacy of the West family and the tragedy that befell them remains ingrained in the very fabric of Villisca, a daily reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath even the most serene surfaces. The case of the Villisca Axe murders serves as a chilling reminder of the fragility of life and the darkness that can invade the most unsuspecting places. It illustrates how a single night can change the course of many lives, leaving behind unanswered questions and a community grappling with sorrow and fear. Even today, the desire to uncover the truth behind this tragedy continues, as people remain captivated by the mystery surrounding that fateful evening. The quiet streets of Villisca still echo with the shadows of the past, where the memories of the West family linger in the hearts and minds of those who live there today. The unsolved nature of the murders invites speculation and discussion, ensuring that the tale of the Villisca Axe murders will not fade into obscurity. It stands as a testament to the enduring power of storytelling and a reminder of the unknown that lies within the darkness. As we consider the events that transpired, we confront not only the events of a single night, but also the broader idea of how tragedy can shape a community and echo through generations, leaving behind a legacy of both fear and fascination that compels us to revisit the past time and time again. In May 2007, a 3-year-old girl named Madeleine McCann vanished from her family's vacation apartment in Praia da Luz, Portugal. This event captured the attention of not just the local community, but also the entire globe, igniting a media frenzy that would last for years. The McCann family, from England, had been enjoying a holiday, and like many families, they were eager to relax and create cherished memories. However, their experience took a tragic turn. On the evening of May 3rd, during their stay at the Ocean Club Resort, Madeleine was left sleeping in her bed, along with her younger siblings, while her parents dined nearby at a restaurant. The couple checked on their children periodically, a common practice for parents to ensure their little ones are safe, while enjoying a brief respite. It was during one of these checks that they discovered Madeleine was missing from her bed. Panic set in as they realized that she had disappeared. As news of Madeleine's disappearance spread, it generated immediate and extensive media coverage. Reporters flocked to Praia da Luz, capturing every detail of the search efforts and the family's desperate appeals for information. Images of Madeleine, her bright eyes and innocent smile, became widely circulated, turning her story into a symbol of parental love and loss. The public responded with overwhelming support, and people from all over the world became invested in the search for the little girl. The investigation unfolded against a backdrop of fear and uncertainty. Local authorities, alongside British detectives, worked tirelessly to piece together the events of that fateful night. The community in Praia da Luz rallied together, with volunteers searching the nearby streets, beaches, and countryside. Posters bearing Madeleine's image were plastered in shops and on lampposts, reminding people that she was still missing. The hope that she would be found grew alongside a sorrowful acknowledgement of the fears that gripped her family and the community. The case soon gained notoriety for its complexity. Despite the many leads and theories proposed, answers remained elusive. Speculation ran rampant across headlines and social media, with various narratives emerging about the circumstances leading to her disappearance. The story was revealed through investigative reports, witness interviews, and the emotional plight of a devastated family, resulting in endless discussions about child safety, parental responsibilities, and the intense pressures of media scrutiny. As the weeks turned into months, the search for Madeleine continued, but the mystery deepened. Authorities faced challenges in their investigation, including differing accounts, conflicting timelines, and the sheer volume of tips. Some individuals believed Madeleine may have been abducted, while others speculated on the possibility of an accident. The lack of concrete evidence complicated matters further, leaving the McCann family and the public without closure. As the years passed, Madeleine's case remained in the public consciousness, not just as an unsolved mystery, but also as a rallying point for parents everywhere. Organizations dedicated to child safety and missing children were inspired by her story, and it led to increased discussions on ensuring children's safety in public spaces and the importance of vigilance. Programs arose internationally, emphasizing prevention and awareness. The family's efforts to keep Madeleine's name alive were tireless. They became advocates for child safety, sharing their experience with the hope of educating others. They launched campaigns to raise awareness and funds to support missing persons organizations. Their determination to find their daughter became a testament to the unyielding love and commitment of parents facing unimaginable adversity. Decades later, the search for answers continues. The story of Madeleine McCann has led to significant inquiries that have shaped law enforcement practices regarding missing persons. Her case inspires discussions on media ethics, the power of public engagement in investigations, and the importance of community in crises. As we reflect on the events surrounding Madeleine's disappearance, it serves as a poignant reminder of the fragility of childhood and the importance of vigilance. This story emphasizes the deep emotional connections within families and the lengths to which they will go to protect their loved one. The quest for knowledge about the unknown remains as the hope for justice continues to fuel public interest and discourse. The disappearance of Madeleine McCann turned from a local tragedy into a global phenomenon, marked by hope, pain, and an undying quest for truth. Her story resonates across borders and cultures, urging society to preserve the innocence of childhood while remaining ever vigilant about safety. Though the mystery remains unsolved, the impact of Madeleine's case continues to inspire compassion, action, and a collective wish for resolution. In June 1960, a tragic and mysterious event unfolded at Lake Bodom in Finland, forever etching its name into the annals of true crime history. This location, with its serene natural beauty, became the site of one of the most infamous cases in Finnish history, known as the Lake Bodom Murders. The events that transpired on the night of June 5, 1960, remain unsolved, capturing the imagination of both locals and true crime enthusiasts around the world. On that fateful night, 4 teenagers set up camp by Lake Bodom. The group consisted of 2 girls, age 15 and 16, and 2 boys, 18 and 19. They were excited for a summer adventure, filled with laughter, friendship, and the beauty of nature. Little did they know that their innocent campfire gathering would soon turn into a horrific scene that would haunt the area for decades. By morning, when the sun rose over Lake Bodom, the campsite was quiet. Concern soon grew when one of the girls, 15-year-old Ansakala, was found dead, lying in a tent. Not far from her were the bodies of the other teenagers, Risto and Nils. It quickly became clear that they had met a gruesome fate. The bodies showed signs of violent attacks, leaving law enforcement puzzled and the community in shock. This brutal crime became a topic of widespread media coverage, igniting public fascination and sparking numerous theories. Investigators soon began to piece together what little evidence they had. Interestingly, one young man, who survived the attack, gave a chilling account of that night. He described how he had fled from the assailant and remarkably escaped with his life. His descriptions of the events were inconsistent, leading to suspicions surrounding his innocence. Nevertheless, the theory that he was indeed a victim was too compelling for many to overlook. The investigation saw numerous hypotheses put forth. Was it a random attack by a stranger passing through, or could it have been someone known to the victims? Some posited that it was the work of a local fisherman. Others considered the possibility of rival campers, and a few even speculated on supernatural elements, given the lake's haunting characteristics. As the investigation unfolded, the media took a keen interest in the case. The story gripped the nation, swirling with sensational claims and speculation. While several potential suspects were identified, none proved conclusive. The years passed, and as one season faded into another at Lake Bodom, the case remained officially unsolved, leaving behind an echo of questions without answers. In an attempt to find closure, a number of people, including amateur sleuths and professional detectives, have made efforts to analyze the crime scene anew, uncovering fresh theories or revisiting old ones. Documentaries and books exploring the case have emerged, each contributing to the lore surrounding the murders, but none have definitively provided closure to the heart-wrenching saga. The murky waters of Lake Bodom, with its rich and darkened depths, seem an appropriate backdrop to the enigma of the murders. Dark shadows cast by the trees that line the lake's shores can evoke an atmosphere that feels haunted, captivating the curious minds that come to visit. The site has become a chilling point of interest, and a reminder of the tragedy that transpired there. Community memory holds on to these events tightly, refusing to let go. Annual commemorations are organized, bringing people together to remember those lives lost, ensuring that they are not forgotten. The story continues to weave its magic, as locals share tales of the past, keeping the legends alive for generations to come. The mystery of the Lake Bodom murders draws curious visitors from all around, with many wondering what truly happened on that fateful night. Were there witnesses to the dark events? What secrets does the lake hold within its depths? These questions remain unanswered and stoke the flames of speculation. In the digital age, the internet has become a new frontier for investigation. Online communities and forums gather enthusiasts who delve into archives and historical documents, piecing together facts and theories. This has sparked renewed interest, showcasing the case's timeless appeal. With each passing year, the fascination grows, encouraging fresh analysis and ongoing conversations regarding the events of 1960. The Lake Bodom murders serve as a chilling reminder of how quickly life can be altered by violence, and they encapsulate the human yearning for answers in the face of tragedy. Each generation attempts to make sense of what happened, and while the physical evidence may age and fade, the spirits of the lost continue to haunt the memories of those who remember their names. The steadfast pursuit of truth, intertwined with an enduring mystery, makes the Lake Bodom case a compelling narrative. Even now, it remains a testament to the fragility of life and the complexities that surround human existence. For those captivated by the unknown, the story of Lake Bodom serves both as an enigma to unravel and a solemn reminder of those young lives that ended too soon. The lake, forever whispering its secrets, urges us to listen closely as the echoes of the past still linger in the air. Martha Moxley was a vibrant 15-year-old girl who lived in the affluent neighborhood of Belle Haven in Greenwich, Connecticut. She was known for her warm smile, energetic personality, and her love for friends and family. In the fall of 1975, a tragedy struck that would not only change the lives of those who knew her, but also create a mystery that remained unsolved for decades. On the evening of October 31st, Martha was enjoying a typical autumn night with friends, partaking in Halloween festivities. Dressed in a costume, she had planned to go out for trick-or-treating with her peers. However, as the night wore on, Martha decided to spend time with her friends instead of going out. At around 9 p.m., she was last seen leaving the home of her friend, and her family anticipated her return shortly. The following morning, however, brought an unforeseen nightmare. Martha's parents became alarmed when she did not arrive home overnight. They began searching the neighborhood, and it was not long before a horrifying discovery was made. Martha's lifeless body was found in her family's backyard, brutally murdered. She had sustained multiple injuries and died as a result of blunt force trauma. The news of Martha's death shocked the tight-knit community of Greenwich. Investigators launched an extensive investigation that delved into Martha's life, the friendships she nurtured, and the social dynamics of Belle Haven. Her murder seemed particularly chilling, not just for the brutality of the act, but because it occurred in a neighborhood where many believed such violence could never happen. As the investigation unfolded, attention turned to several young men who had been in the vicinity on that fateful night. Among them was Tommy F. Smothers, who was the son of a prominent family that had ties to the Kennedy clan. This connection added complexity to the case. The Kennedy family, stemming from one of the most distinguished political dynasties in America, had left a profound impact on American society. Many in Greenwich speculated whether Smothers' ties would influence the investigation. The investigation saw multiple leads, tips, and suspects emerge, yet none could definitively be tied to the murder. Witnesses provided various accounts of the night in question, but as the police pieced together Martha's last moments, inconsistencies began to surface. Friends and peers offered testimonies, but despite their best efforts, no concrete evidence could lead to a resolution. As the weeks turned into months and then years, the case garnered widespread media attention. Coverage extended beyond local news. It reached national outlets, sparking public interest and theories about who could have committed such an atrocity. The associations with the Kennedy family loomed large in conversations, leading to speculation about hidden factors influencing the case. Some believed that local elites had shielded potential suspects from scrutiny, while others argued that the tragedy needed to be approached with objectivity, away from familial affiliations. In 1976, Martha's murder officially remained unsolved, but the case did not fade away silently. The allure of the mystery lingered in the minds of many, leading to periodic media coverage, documentaries, and even books seeking to shed light on the events surrounding her death. In 1991, the investigation renewed vigor as witnesses came forward, and authorities released composite sketches, reigniting discussions about suspects connected to the case who hadn't been thoroughly examined in earlier stages. Years turned into decades, with several cold case detectives revisiting the evidence and looking at it through a contemporary lens. The advancements in forensic technology helped to reignite hope among Martha's loved ones, as DNA testing and other modern crime-solving techniques became available. Unfortunately, despite these advancements, the key pieces of evidence that could lead to a breakthrough remained elusive. By 2020, the attention to Martha Moxley's case received new life with the rise of true crime shows and podcasts. Renewed public interest once again encouraged conversations around justice for Martha. Families held on to hope, yearning for the day they would uncover the truth about her death. In 2000, charges were brought against Michael Skakel, a member of the Kennedy family through marriage. His story had always circled the investigation due to his proximity to Martha the night of her death. Despite numerous trials and debates over evidence, he maintained his innocence. However, the connection created waves of intrigue and discussion among true crime enthusiasts and investigators alike. Throughout this tumultuous journey of an unresolved case, Martha Moxley's name remains synonymous with the lost potential of youth and the critical search for justice. It serves as a reminder of the impact that a single tragedy can have on a community, the clicks of the media, and the hearts of those who knew and loved Martha. At the heart of this narrative lies a continuing quest for answers. The murder of Martha Moxley, a tragic event in an otherwise ordinary neighborhood, beckons to those who seek to understand the unfathomable complexities of human behavior. As individuals revisit her story, discussions remain important, keeping the memory alive of a young girl whose life was cut short far too soon. The case persists as an emblem of unresolved histories and a testament to the enduring relationship between memory, community, and justice. In 1919, a curious case emerged that gripped the public's attention and became known as the Green Bicycle Case. This mystery unfolded in the heart of England, where the life of a young woman named Alma Rattenbury came to a shocking and tragic end. The details surrounding her death were as puzzling as they were captivating, weaving a tale of betrayal, misguided love, and an infamous green bicycle that would become central to the investigation. Alma, a vibrant and lively young woman, was well known in her community. She had a charm that drew people to her, and her untimely death sent shockwaves through the local populace. On a fateful day, she was found lifeless in the tranquil surroundings of a park in the small town of Southampton, leaving everyone to question the circumstances leading to her demise. The police quickly initiated an investigation, and central to their inquiries was a strikingly distinctive green bicycle. The tale took a turn when descriptions of the green bicycle began to circulate. It was reported that Alma had been seen riding this unique bike just days before her passing. Witnesses recalled spotting her, with her long hair flowing in the wind, pedaling through the town with an air of freedom and joy. This vivid image only deepened the community's connection to her, making her tragic fate all the more heartbreaking. The bike, which belonged to a man named William Morse, became a focal point in the investigation, its unusual color making it stand out in the minds of those who had seen it. As the investigation progressed, the police searched for clues that might reveal what had led to Alma's death. Much of the evidence was circumstantial, leaving law enforcement and the public alike in a state of uncertainty. Different accounts and testimonies began to emerge, often conflicting, adding layers of complexity to the already convoluted narrative. A series of witnesses came forward, offering their insights and observations. Some reported seeing Alma with William Morse near the location where her body was discovered, while others claimed to have seen Alma in the company of different individuals. The uncertainty surrounding each testimony sowed seeds of doubt about who was involved and what had really happened that day. As the trial approached, it became clear that the path to the truth was fraught with more questions than answers. With the trial set to begin, the green bicycle loomed large in the public consciousness. The media seized upon the story with fervor, embellishing the details and contributing to a fever pitch of fascination and horror. This peculiar case was not merely a murder. It was a melodrama laced with intrigue, perfect for the period's sensationalist journalism. Both the prosecution and defense prepared their arguments, and the nation watched closely as the events unfolded. The trial featured compelling testimonies and evidence, yet the truth remained elusive. The jury faced the daunting task of deciphering the clues, which included the elusive green bicycle. Against the backdrop of post-war Britain, the case reflected larger societal themes, questions of morality, justice, and the human condition. The stories woven by witnesses and the narratives spun by the press made the green bicycle a symbol of the era's complexities. William Morse was ultimately charged with murder, but the lack of concrete evidence made it difficult to secure a definitive outcome. Many debated the motives. Was it love turned sour, or a crime of passion ignited by jealousy? Additionally, the political and social climate of the time influenced public opinion about the case, leading to divergent views on guilt and innocence. The green bicycle remained a curious artifact throughout, embodying both the mystery and the tragedy surrounding Alma Rattenbury's life and death. As the trial progressed, public sentiment continued to evolve. Some viewed Morse as a villain, while others expressed sympathy for a man caught in a web of circumstance. The deliberations provided insight into human nature, revealing just how easy it is for misunderstandings to escalate. The symbol of the green bicycle became a haunting reminder of Alma's vibrant yet fleeting life, an image that lingered in the minds of many long after the courtroom proceedings ended. Amid the discussions and debates, the case eventually came to a close. The verdict was rather unexpected and reflected the complexities of the evidence presented. While William Morse was acquitted, the shroud of doubt remained over the events of that fateful day. The public's fascination with the case continued long after the courtroom drama had subsided. The green bicycle, once just a mode of transport, had morphed into a symbol of something deeper, a reflection on the human experience, the fragility of life, and the curious nature of truth. Years later, the story of the green bicycle case would be revisited, analyzed, and retold, each retelling adding its own layers to the narrative. It served as a cautionary tale about the murky depths of human relationships and the profound impact of unresolved mysteries. The case raises questions that linger regarding the limits of justice and the power of perception. It remains a poignant reminder of a bygone era echoing the timeless themes of love, betrayal, and the importance of seeking truth in a world often shrouded in ambiguity. The Taman Shud case is one of Australia's most enigmatic mysteries, captivating the imagination of many for decades. It all began on the evening of December 1st, 1948, when the body of an unidentified man was discovered on Somerton Beach in Adelaide, South Australia. The circumstances surrounding his death were puzzling, and the clues left behind became the focus of both amateur sleuths and professional investigators. The man, who was never identified, was found reclining against a seawall, his body elegantly dressed in a suit and tie. There was something disconcerting about the scene, as there were no signs of struggle and no obvious cause of death. Perhaps even more perplexing was that in his pocket, authorities discovered a small scrap of paper with the words "Tamam Shud" inscribed on it. This phrase, which translates from Persian to ended or finished, signaled the beginning of a bizarre chain of events. The scrap of paper was traced back to a book of Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, a collection of poems that explores concepts of life, death, and the fleeting nature of existence. The book was found in a nearby car, which led detectives to a further mystery. Inside the book, there were cryptic codes and what appeared to be mysterious inscriptions that have puzzled cryptographers and enthusiasts ever since. These symbols hinted at something more than just a simple story or a poem. They suggested a deeper narrative, or perhaps a secret meaning that remained hidden from view. Investigators faced further challenges since the man had no identification on him, and it quickly became apparent that he was a unique case. Descriptions of him were inconsistent with any known missing persons, and attempts to identify him through fingerprints were futile. His physical appearance was also notable. He had a very well-toned physique and was in excellent condition, suggesting that he was likely from a place where physical fitness was a priority. An autopsy was conducted, but it added only more layers of complexity. The results showed that he died from a poisoning of unknown origin. Yet the toxicology reports revealed no definitive substances to explain his demise. This raised further questions. Was it an act of suicide, foul play, or possibly a secretive assassination? The lack of evidence supporting any of these theories lent an air of intrigue to the case, giving rise to numerous speculations. As interest grew, so did the number of amateur sleuths who tried to decode the messages or decipher the history behind the cryptic note. Some theorized that the man could have been a spy, using the pages of poetry as a means of communication or encryption. Others believed he was involved in a romantic mystery that may have gone tragically wrong. The theory of espionage carried weight due to the historical context. 1948 was a time of political tension and changing allegiances post-World War II. Adding to the enigma, witnesses occasionally came forward with intriguing accounts of interactions with a man resembling the deceased. Some claimed he was seen in the days leading up to his discovery, engaging with a mysterious woman at a local location. This woman never came forward, deepening the mystery further, and it left investigators wondering who she might have been and why she vanished from the narrative entirely. Many years passed, and while the Taman Shud case faded from the headlines, it remained an unsolved puzzle lodged in the collective memory of Australia. The man became a ghost of sorts, elusive and enigmatic, haunting those who found an intrigue in his mysterious death. Despite the passage of time, his story continues to inspire various forms of storytelling, from documentaries to works in fiction, and even theatrical interpretation. The Taman Shud case exemplifies the intersection of history, intrigue, and human curiosity. It serves as a reminder that some stories remain unresolved, shrouded in secrecy that challenges our understanding of life and mortality. It invites all to ponder deeper questions about identity, purpose, and the lengths people will go to pursue or escape their destinies. As modern technologies have evolved, the hope remains that new methods may someday bring clarity to the unanswered questions surrounding this extraordinary mystery. Thus, the man who rests beneath the sands of Somerton Beach continues to evoke wonder, capturing hearts and minds in a quest for understanding. His fate remains a solemn echo, a narrative longing for closure. Each whisper of his story invites renewed investigation, a reminder of the mysteries woven into the fabric of life, waiting to be discovered, or perhaps destined to remain untold. On a chilly winter's evening in the Tokyo suburb of Setagaya, a quiet neighborhood was about to be shaken by a horrific crime that would remain etched in the minds of many forever. The events of December 30th, 2000, culminated in the brutal murders of the Miyazawa family, comprised of parents, a daughter, and a son. This heart-wrenching case stands as one of Japan's most perplexing unsolved mysteries, captivating the interest of true crime enthusiasts and investigators alike for over 2 decades. The Miyazawa family lived in a suburban house, surrounded by a wealth of greenery and the peacefulness of a tight-knit community. As dusk fell on that fateful day, they went about their lives, unaware of the tragedy that lurked nearby. Yasunori Miyazawa, the father, was 44 years old, a dedicated civil servant whose passion for life was palpable. His wife, 41-year-old, and their children, 8-year-old and 6-year-old, were known for their laughter and kindness, often seen playing with their friends in the neighborhood. They were an ordinary family, living an ordinary life, until that night when everything changed. After the children returned home from school, they spent time playing in the comfort of their home. As night descended, they likely gathered for dinner, sharing stories of their day and nourishing their bonds as a family. However, deep within the stillness of the night, an unseen threat had infiltrated their sanctuary. The following morning would reveal the unimaginable, a scene filled with chaos and horror. When Yasunori's mother grew concerned after failing to reach them, she made the difficult decision to visit their home. What she discovered was a nightmare. Upon entering the house, she found an unsettling silence, broken only by the chilling realization that her family had been brutally murdered. The crime scene revealed a horrifying tableau. Yasunori and his wife were found in separate rooms, having suffered multiple stab wounds. Tragically, the children were also discovered, victims of the same unthinkable violence that shredded the fabric of their family. The aftermath of the Setagaya family murders thrust the local police into a whirlwind of activity. Investigators meticulously combed through the scene, collecting evidence and piecing together the fragments of that harrowing night. Despite their extensive efforts, they were met with numerous challenges. Unlike many modern criminal investigations, this was colored by the passage of time and a lack of tangible leads. The family had no known enemies, and the motive behind the massacre remained as obscure as the identity of the perpetrator. As the investigation unfolded, authorities focused their attention on various theories. One plausible scenario was that the assailant had entered the home through a back door that had been left unlocked, taking advantage of the family's trust in the familiar surroundings of their own home. However, this theory only deepened the mystery, as it did not explain how someone could commit such a heinous act without raising alarm. In the ensuing years, The police pursued numerous leads, shifting their attention toward potential suspects through various means, including DNA analysis. A blood sample collected from the scene became a beacon of hope amid despair for the detectives, as advancements in forensic science promised new avenues for clarification. Despite the unfolding technology, the results were perplexingly non-conclusive. The DNA profile did not match anyone in the police database, and this glaring gap fueled the ongoing mystery of who had wreaked such havoc on the Miyazawa family. Panic rippled through the Setagaya neighborhood as the story gained traction in the media. Families began to question their own safety, devastatingly aware that the killer was still at large, living amidst them, undetected. Fear became a lingering presence as police increased their patrols. Community meetings were organized, allowing residents to air their concerns and suggestions, and experts were invited to share their insights on how to prevent such a calamity in the future. Yet, even these efforts could not ease the haunting pain of loss shared by the Miyazawa family's relatives, nor quell the community's anxiety. In the years that followed, the Setagaya family murders never faded from public consciousness. Anniversaries were marked with media coverage, keeping the case alive in the collective memory of Japan. Social media became a platform where amateur sleuths began sharing their own theories, leading to discussions and debates that ignited a resurgence of interest. Documentaries and podcasts dedicated significant time dissecting the events, exploring everything from the family's background to the psychological profile of a potential suspect. One interesting aspect that surrounded the case was the presence of a digital footprint left behind by the killer. Some reports pointed out that just hours after the heinous act, an anonymous forum user posted about the murders, detailing specifics that only those close to the case would know. While this revelation added a chilling twist to the narrative, investigators were unable to track the poster's identity, leaving a void that further fueled public intrigue. As years turned into decades, many grappled with how a case like this could remain unsolved. The grief and confusion surrounding the issue highlighted broader societal questions about safety, justice, and the often inexplicable nature of human behavior. The value of families, the sanctity of home, and the fragility of life became subjects of reflection for many, and the Miyazawa family's legacy continued to resonate, reminding the world not only of loss, but also of the need for vigilance and community. The Setagaya family murders serve as a poignant and unresolved chapter in Japan's criminal history. With a multitude of unanswered questions lingering in the air, the story remains a somber reminder of the darker sides of human existence. Despite the efforts of law enforcement and the heart-wrenching loss felt by those around them, the search for answers continues, leaving a trail of speculation and sorrow that echoes in the quiet streets of Setagaya. In the small German town of Treisdorf, a chilling mystery emerged in 1984 that would captivate the nation for decades. The case became known as the YOGTZE Case, named after the cryptic message found in the victim's possession. This tale begins with an ordinary individual, a young man named Klaus Grabowski, whose life was tragically cut short. The events surrounding his death have left behind a perplexing puzzle filled with intrigue, suspicion, and unanswered questions. On the evening of October 13, 1984, Klaus Grabowski was experiencing a typical night out with friends. However, as the night progressed, he began to act in an increasingly unusual manner. Witnesses noted that he seemed agitated and was even speaking in a disjointed manner. His evening took a strange turn when he left the gathering in a seemingly frantic state. He told his friends that he was going to help a friend who was in trouble. This vague assertion left everyone puzzled, as they couldn't pinpoint who he was referring to. Hours later, Klaus was found near his vehicle. The circumstances of his death were alarming. He had suffered multiple injuries that led to immediate speculation of foul play. Additionally, his car was discovered in a suspicious position, seemingly abandoned yet positioned in a way that made it look like he had tried to escape or fend off an attacker. To add to the mystery, a notable detail emerged. Klaus had not taken his car keys with him, which raised further questions about what had transpired that night. Contained within Klaus's car was a bizarre message written in chalk, which read, "YOGTZE." This cryptic clue would become the focal point of investigation and speculation. Authorities tried to decode this puzzle, attempting to make sense of its meaning in connection with Klaus's last known activities. The term YOGTZE became synonymous with intrigue, attracting attention not just from local investigators, but also from journalists and amateur sleuths across Germany. As investigators delved deeper into Klaus' life, they uncovered a variety of leads. Friends and family members recounted his eclectic personality and interests, which ranged from music to technology. They expressed confusion over why he might have felt compelled to help someone, as nothing in his character suggested he would engage in risky situations. Did Klaus stumble into something much larger than himself? Perhaps a dangerous encounter he was unaware of until it was too late? Over time, various theories emerged. Some speculated it was a tragic accident, while others leaned towards the possibility of murder. They considered various scenarios. Did Klaus unwittingly witness a crime? Was he targeted? As time passed, new evidence seemed to point in the direction of a conspiracy. Several individuals approached police with tips alleging connections to illegal activities in the area. Each time, the investigators were forced to follow up, hoping to find something more concrete, but each lead seemed to go cold. The YOGTZE case attracted media attention, drawing in true crime enthusiasts and amateur detectives from far and wide. Numerous documentaries and articles explored the enigmatic details surrounding Klaus Grabowski's final hours. Various interpretations of the YOGTZE message emerged. Some suggested it was an acronym for a warning regarding an illicit affair or underground dealings in the town. Others proposed it represented a coded message to a loved one that was never meant to be discovered. In the face of dead ends and lack of solid evidence, the case took on a life of its own, making it a part of German pop culture rather than just a cold case. The term YOGTZE was frequently referenced in various media and conversations about unresolved mysteries. The enduring nature of this case likely stems from the universal fascination with the unknown, with human lives intertwined in complexities and secrets. As the years flowed into decades, the original investigators retired. But the YOGTZE case has not faded into obscurity. New generations of detectives and journalists have revisited the story, hoping to bring new insights to light. Discussions on forums and social media platforms keep the case alive, inspiring those intrigued by unsolved mysteries to share their theories and perspectives. In 2023, many still ponder the significance of the YOGTZE message and the unresolved questions surrounding Klaus Grabowski's demise. Was it truly a tragic accident shrouded in mystery, or was there a darker narrative at play? The search for the truth continues, drawing in countless individuals who are driven by curiosity and a desire for closure in a story that remains compelling and haunting. The YOGTZE case serves as a reminder of the mysteries that linger in the shadows of our world, beckoning those willing to uncover the secrets that time has left behind. It invites speculation and dialogue about the fragility of life and the pursuit of answers where clarity is scarce. While Klaus Grabowski's story may remain clouded in uncertainty, its impact resonates, leaving an indelible mark in the annals of true crime history. In the heart of paradise, where beautiful beaches meet vibrant culture, lies a story that shadows the sun-soaked streets of Honolulu. It is a tale that intertwines the allure of the islands with the chilling reality of human darkness. This is the haunting saga of the Honolulu Strangler, Hawaii's first known serial killer, a ghostly figure who evaded capture and left a lasting mark on the community during the 1980s. The narrative begins in the early years of the decade, a time when Hawaii was celebrated for its breathtaking scenery and rich traditions. The islands were bustling with life, filled with tourists exploring scenic vistas and locals enjoying the warm, inviting atmosphere. Yet, beneath this idyllic surface, a sinister presence lurked, preying on the vulnerability of women. It was in 1985 that residents of Honolulu first began to whisper about a series of tragic and violent events. Women, primarily sex workers, began disappearing from the streets, leaving behind worried friends and family. The first victim, 45-year-old prostitute, was found in an abandoned building, the details of her death shocking the community and signaling the emergence of a terrifying pattern. As news of these incidents spread, fear gripped the neighborhoods, families clutching their children a little tighter at night, and women began to alter their routines, hesitant to venture out after dark. The police were faced with a mounting crisis, launching an investigation that would lead them into a tangled web of clues, rumors, and the heart-wrenching realities of addiction and survival. Detectives pored over evidence, desperately seeking leads that would unmask the person behind this horrific facade. As the case developed, similarities between the victims started to emerge. All were women, mostly involved in risky lifestyles, which unfortunately made them more vulnerable to violence. The media became increasingly involved, broadcasting news of the unsolved murders, and the Honolulu Strangler began to take form as a name that would echo through the years. With every additional murder, the urgency for answers intensified. Investigators analyzed crime scenes, interviewed witnesses, and developed profiles of possible suspects. Yet, the elusive killer remained in the shadows, slipping through the cracks of an increasingly frantic search. As months turned into years, the narrative of the Honolulu Strangler became a chilling reality that was impossible to ignore. Several theories emerged, and the police even pursued potential suspects, but nothing solid ever materialized. The case was cold, but the community's fear was hot. The once vibrant nightlife took on a darker edge. Streets that had been filled with laughter and music now lay hushed, each echoing footstep a reminder of the tragedy that had unfolded. In the midst of despair, stories of resilience began to sprout. Citizens rallied together, organizing vigils and community meetings, creating a network to keep one another safe. While the presence of danger was palpable, the spirit of unity blossomed. Residents shared tips on avoiding risky areas and supported one another, embodying the true spirit of aloha. Years went by, and the Honolulu Strangler became a chilling tale shared among friends, whispered in hushed tones. The unresolved mystery ignited the imaginations of locals and tourists alike. Some speculated the killer had moved on, blending into the very fabric of society, while others believed he might be watching from afar, unseen and unknown. Despite the passage of time, the case was never closed. Each anniversary of the killings bore witness to painful memories, while detectives continued to revisit evidence with the hope that advancements in technology might finally yield answers. The Honolulu Strangler, though identified only by the legacy of terror left behind, remained a ghost in the minds of many. In a world that craves closure, the story of the Honolulu Strangler serves as a poignant reminder of how darkness can loom, even in the most beautiful places. It asks the difficult questions about human nature, the complexities of life, and the shadows that can exist alongside light. As we reflect on this haunting chapter in Hawaii's history, we must also celebrate the resilience of the community. The bond among residents grew stronger, fostering a greater awareness of safety and compassion for one another. The ordeal highlighted the importance of looking out for each other and remaining vigilant against the unseen threats that may emerge on the horizon. Stories like that of the Honolulu Strangler teach us valuable lessons about vigilance and community. They remind us to cherish the bright moments in life, but to remain aware of the shadows that may lurk, urging us to understand the need for compassion in the face of tragedy. As tales of the past echo through the present, they call on us to acknowledge that even within darkness, there is always the potential for light to break through, illuminating paths toward healing and unity. In the heart of Washington, D.C., a tragic and perplexing case unfolded in 2006, capturing the attention of both the public and the media. This is the case of Robert Wone, a promising lawyer whose life was cut short under mysterious circumstances. On the evening of August 2nd, Robert had planned to stay overnight at the home of his friends, Joe Price, Victor Zaborski, and Dylan Ward, in the Georgetown neighborhood. What initially seemed like an ordinary visit quickly escalated into a perplexing murder investigation that would raise more questions than answers. Robert had been a well-respected attorney, known for his intelligence and dedication to his work. He was at the height of his career, working at the prestigious law firm Covington and Burling, and he had many friends and family who admired him. That evening, he arrived at the house where the three friends lived together in a modern, upscale home. As the night progressed, Robert was described as being in good spirits, enjoying conversation and leisure time. However, the calmness of the evening would soon be shattered. At approximately 11:49 p.m., a call was made to 911, informing the operator that someone was injured in the house. When police arrived, they found Robert gravely wounded in the upper floor of the home. He had multiple stab wounds to his torso, and despite the efforts of medical personnel, he was pronounced dead shortly after arriving at the hospital. This sudden tragedy left those who knew Robert in shock and raised urgent questions regarding how such an act could occur among friends in what seemed to be a safe environment. The circumstances surrounding Robert's death were particularly baffling. The three men who lived at the residence reported hearing noises and discovering Robert injured, but their statements regarding the events of the evening conflicted with one another. Each of them had a different account of what transpired, and the discrepancies made it difficult for investigators to piece together a coherent timeline. It wasn't long before suspicions began to surface regarding their involvement in the case. One striking element that investigators encountered was the lack of a clear motive for Robert's murder. Unlike many cases that involve personal grudges or disputes, there were no apparent connections that would suggest animosity or conflict between Robert and his friend. Furthermore, the lack of forced entry into the home suggested that the killer was someone familiar to Robert, adding yet another layer of complexity to the investigation. Another intriguing aspect of the case was the presence of strange evidence. Although Joe, Victor, and Dylan were present in the house when the attack occurred, each portrayed themselves as not having seen or heard the attack itself. Investigators found it curious that there were no signs of struggle in the room where Robert was discovered, and they noted that the scene did not appear chaotic as one might expect in a violent confrontation. Additionally, the police discovered that the three men had cleaned up the area around the crime scene, which led to speculation about the possibility of their prior knowledge of Robert's fate. Things took an even more curious turn when toxicology reports revealed the presence of a sedative in Robert's system. This raised further questions. Was Robert incapacitated before the attack? If so, who would have had access to him and the means to administer such a substance? The presence of these unknown factors frustrated investigators, complicating their ability to reach a solid conclusion regarding the events of that tragic night. As the investigation progressed, potential motives began to surface. Some theories suggested that Robert might have been involved in a secret relationship with one of the men, although this was never proven or widely accepted. Questions around sexual tension and jealousy emerged, but the lack of evidence diminished the credibility of these speculations. The ongoing uncertainty about potential motives only fueled public intrigue, leading to a media frenzy surrounding the case. The legal proceedings that followed were equally captivating. The three men faced scrutiny, not just in the court of public opinion, but also in a criminal court. While no one was charged with murder in connection to Robert's death, Joe Price was eventually charged with and acquitted of both obstruction of justice and evidence tampering. The outcome raised eyebrows, as many believed the evidence against him was compelling, yet the legal battle proved to be complicated. Public interest in the case continued to endure over the years, with some becoming fixated on the personalities involved and the entangled relationships between the individuals connected to Robert. Investigative articles, podcasts, and legal analyses brought attention back to the case, as details that initially seemed dormant resurfaced, leading many to believe that the truth had not yet been fully unraveled. Over time, the story became woven into the fabric of Washington, D.C.'s true crime lore, representing a mystery that many are still keen to understand fully. The case of Robert Wone serves as a stark reminder of how unanticipated and bewildering human interactions can be. It illustrates the complexities that arise in relationships, the unpredictable nature of life, and the darkness that sometimes lurks behind closed doors. As investigations continue to attract attention, the case remains an open puzzle, inviting speculation, analysis, and a desire for closure amongst all who became captivated by this unsettling story. In the annals of American history, few tales are as captivating as that of D.B. Cooper, a bold hijacker, whose daring escapade in 1971 remains shrouded in mystery. This legendary figure has captivated the imagination of many, becoming a symbol of intrigue and enigma, inspiring a plethora of theories surrounding his true identity. The story begins on November 24, 1971, when a seemingly ordinary man with the alias D.B. Cooper boarded Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305 in Portland, Oregon. He was dressed in a simple black suit and wore sunglasses, projecting an air of confidence that belied his ulterior motives. As the plane took off, he handed a note to a flight attendant, but she initially dismissed it, thinking it was just a solicitation. It wasn't until she glanced at the note and saw the chilling demand that the situation transformed dramatically. Cooper revealed that he was armed and demanded $400,000 in cash, along with a parachute and the release of several passengers. The flight crew and airline officials, understanding the gravity of the situation, complied with his demands as they landed in Seattle. During the 3-hour standoff, Cooper remained calm and composed, giving orders and providing instructions without a hint of panic. His demeanor only added to the mysterious aura surrounding him. After Cooper received the ransom and released the passengers, he requested that only a few crew members remain on board. What happened next was a decision that would lead to one of the greatest mysteries in American criminal history. With the plane's rear stairway open, Cooper instructed the crew to fly the aircraft at a low altitude and slow speed, an unusual request that would later be scrutinized in detail. The flight took off again, now with Cooper and a few remaining crew members, flying towards Mexico as he had instructed. Shortly after takeoff, at approximately 8,000 feet, the unthinkable happened. Cooper apparently jumped from the aircraft into the darkened skies, parachute strapped to his back, leaving behind no trace of his whereabouts. The aircraft continued to fly for a while, before eventually landing safely, but Cooper and the cash disappeared without a trace. This bold act of aviation piracy ignited a massive manhunt involving the FBI, who investigated leads across the entire country, but Cooper seemed to vanish as effectively as smoke. Over the years, numerous theories emerged regarding Cooper's identity. He has been described as everything from an experienced skydiver to a mere opportunist seeking a thrill. Some claimed to have seen him in various states and places, yet no definitive proof could link any individual to this notorious hijacker. One intriguing aspect of the case is the fact that the FBI continued to investigate the Cooper case for decades, pursuing almost 1,000 suspects before officially suspending the investigation in 2016, marking it as one of the longest unsolved cases in criminal history. The fascination surrounding Cooper persists to this day, with amateur sleuths and professional investigators alike dissecting every detail, hoping to uncover the truth. Within the investigation, tantalizing clues emerged, including a package that contained a portion of the ransom that was discovered in 1980 along the Columbia River. This discovery reignited interest in the case and offered a new lead, but still, it did not lead to Cooper's recovery. The bills were traced back to the ransom, but did little to clarify the fate of the fugitive. Numerous theories regarding Cooper's fate have flourished over the years. Some suggest that he survived the jump, learned to live off the grid, and has been blending into society ever since. Others propose that he didn't survive at all, having miscalculated his landing or being caught in the harsh wilderness of the Pacific Northwest. Many have taken to forums, books, and documentaries to share their own theories and conjectures, spinning a web of intrigue around an already mysterious figure. What remains particularly fascinating is the cultural impact of D.B. Cooper's actions and the legend that has grown around him. He has become a folk hero of sorts, representing the spirit of rebellion and the ultimate escapist fantasy. The case has inspired various forms of art, from movies to songs, and continues to capture the public imagination. As new technology and methods arise, there remains a glimmer of hope that the truth could finally come to light. Advances in DNA analysis and forensic science present opportunities that were previously unavailable, breathing new life into this decades-old mystery. Could the identity of D.B. Cooper finally be revealed, or will he forever remain a specter of history, a figure who slipped through the fingers of justice? D.B. Cooper's hijacking is not merely a crime. It is a story of audacity, cleverness, and the allure of the unknown. Each year that passes only adds to the legend surrounding this extraordinary tale, reminding us that some mysteries are meant to endure, feeding our collective imagination and fascination with what lies beyond our understanding. In the end, D.B. Cooper is not just a name. He symbolizes a captivating mystery that continues to endure in the hearts and minds of those who dare to ask the question, who was D.B. Cooper? In the bustling city of Austin, Texas, a tragic event took place that would captivate the community and remain unresolved for years. It was 1991, and a small yogurt shop near a popular shopping area became the center of a harrowing tale known as the Austin Yogurt Shop Murders. This case involved the untimely deaths of 4 young women, a crime that shocked the city and left families searching for answers. On the night of December 6, 1991, 4 girls ranging in age from 15 to 17, were working at the I can't believe it's yogurt shop. They were excited and energetic, filled with the spirit of youth, serving customers and enjoying their jobs. As the evening wore on, the shop, often a lively hub for young people, gradually emptied, the laughter and chatter fading into the background. When the store was not opened the following morning, a concerned family member arrived to check on the girl. What should have been a day of joy quickly turned into a nightmare. Inside, the scene was heartbreaking and grim. The girls had been murdered, and the initial chaos of the crime left behind a shocking mystery that would haunt the city of Austin for decades. The investigation began almost immediately, drawing the attention of law enforcement from across the region. Detectives worked tirelessly to piece together the details of that fateful night. They interviewed countless witnesses and sifted through a mountain of evidence, but leads often seemed to vanish. The lack of significant clues left the case feeling cold. As the weeks turned into months, it became increasingly difficult for the community to find closure. The elements surrounding the murders added layers of complexity. Early reports suggested possible motives and suspects, but as investigations progressed, many leads faded. There were numerous theories that emerged, each one seeming more plausible than the last. Some believed it was the work of an individual who preyed upon young women, while others speculated that it could be a random act of violence, untethered from any personal connection. Each theory sparked discussions, debates, and even fears amongst the residents of Austin. In the aftermath, the yogurt shop became a symbol of loss. The site of the tragedy was often visited by mourners, and local vigils were held to honor the memories of the four girls. Each of them had dreams and aspirations, nicknames and personalities that resonated with their families and friends. Their stories were told and retold, showcasing young lives that were abruptly cut short. With little progress made, the case remained unresolved, drawing the attentions of true crime enthusiasts and amateur sleuths who combed through details in search of the truth. The media coverage did not wane. Articles and documentaries explored every aspect of the case, providing the public with insights into each girl's life, the investigation, and the emotional toll it took on their loved ones. Coverage brought renewed interest and scrutiny, occasionally generating new leads that were, once again, met with disappointment. As time passed, one of the pivotal moments came in 1999, when two men were arrested, based on circumstantial evidence. However, the charges were dropped due to lack of solid proof connecting them to the crime. This development was a blow to the families who had held onto hope that the case would soon see resolution. The frustration in the community grew as the years turned into decades. Many people found themselves grappling with the notion that sometimes answers elude us, despite our best efforts to uncover them. This story also highlighted the importance of community and solidarity in the face of tragedy. As the years passed, the people of Austin found ways to commemorate the girls through various means, such as charity events and scholarship funds, aimed at empowering youth and promoting safety. This act of remembrance not only honored their memory, but helped foster a sense of protection and connection within the community. Today, the Austin Yogurt Shop murders remain one of the most well-known unsolved cases in Texas, continuing to intrigue and puzzle many. The ongoing efforts for justice echo through the hearts of those who refuse to let the memory of the girls fade into obscurity. The case may not have been closed, but the spirit of those four young women lives on in the stories told, the events held, and the awareness raised about the importance of safety for all. As time continues, the hope remains that new evidence or advancements in technology will one day lead to answers. The Austin Yogurt Shop murders remind us of the fragility of life and the ongoing quest for justice. Their legacy, though shrouded in mystery, continues to inspire and encourage the quest for truth, serving as a poignant reminder of the lives lost and the importance of community vigilance in the face of darkness. Each piece of this tragic puzzle, each unanswered question, keeps the stories alive, narratives of youth, dreams, and the unfortunate intrusion of violence into ordinary lives, all still waiting to be woven into the fabric of truth. In 1966, an event unfolded that would capture the attention and hearts of many across Australia and beyond. It began with a sunny day at a beach in Adelaide, the sun shining brightly, waves gently lapping at the shore, and a gentle breeze rustling through the coastal trees. On this particular day, 3 siblings, 9-year-old Jane, 7-year-old Arna, and 4-year-old Grant Beaumont, ventured to Glenelg Beach on the 26th of January, a day marked by celebrations and picnics for many Australian families. The Beaumont children, known for their joyful spirits and adventurous natures, set off on a trip to the beach like many families do on warm summer days. Their parents, particularly their mother, were filled with the typical worries of any parent, but also allowed their trust in their children to explore. It was not unusual at that time for children to play on the beach, building sandcastles, collecting shells, and swimming in the shallow waters. The children were good swimmers, and their mother felt there was enough monitoring from others nearby, so she allowed them some freedom that day. As the sun rose higher in the sky, the siblings spent hours having fun together. They laughed and splashed as they enjoyed the warm water, stopped to munch on their packed lunches, and participated in the carefree joys of childhood. However, after the afternoon hours passed, something unexpected occurred. When their mother returned to the spot where she had last seen them, she was faced with a horrifying realization. The children were gone. As the news spread, the beach quickly became a scene of frantic searching. Parents, friends, and lifeguards combed the sands and waters, calling their names, peering into the horizon for any sign of the 3 young children. It was not long before the search extended beyond the beach. The disappearance of the Beaumont children rapidly turned into an extensive search effort that swept through Glenelg and the surrounding areas. The police were alerted, and the investigation began. Helicopters flew over the coastline, searches involving hundreds of volunteers took place, and posters with descriptions of the children were distributed far and wide. The media jumped onto the story, and soon the entire nation was captivated by the tragedy unfolding at Glenelg Beach. The faces of Jane, Arna, and Grant became icons of tragic innocence, representing hope and despair rolled into one. Despite the tireless efforts of search teams, no trace of the Beaumont children was found. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, but the mystery only deepened. As the investigation continued, various theories emerged. People speculated about potential abductions, while others wondered if the children had wandered off, succumbed to the dangers of the sea, or met with an unfortunate accident. The lack of physical evidence further fueled chilling hypotheses and imaginations. The Beaumont children's disappearance was not just a local tragedy. It resonated across the nation. Annual memorials were held to honor their memory, and in the decades following, their story became intertwined with discussions about child safety, the changing dynamics of family life, and the actions that should be taken to protect children. The case influenced public perceptions of parental responsibility and sparked conversations about child abductions, leading to more awareness and advocacy for children's safety in Australia and around the world. Over the years, many people have come forth claiming to have seen the children or to possess information regarding their disappearance. Sadly, these leads often prove to be unsubstantiated adding layers to an already complex narrative. Professional investigators, amateur sleuths, and armchair detectives pored over every detail, attempting to find answers where none had been found. The Beaumont children were individuals with their own dreams, personalities, and hopes, lost in the shadows of an unsolved mystery. This circumstance resonates deeply, reminding people of the fragility of life and the power of community in challenging times. As years have passed, the world still reflects on the Beaumont children's case, preserving their memory in hearts and minds, as it symbolized an unsolved thread in the tapestry of life and loss. The enduring mystery of the Beaumont children's disappearance serves as a poignant reminder of both the innocence of childhood and the unpredictable nature of life. It reminds communities of the importance of safety, the need for vigilance, and the value of cherishing loved ones at all times. Even decades after, the story continues to evoke emotions and draws attention to parental vigilance and societal responsibility, resonating deeply for generations that follow. From the sandy shores of Glenelg Beach to the hearts of those who remember, the disappearance of the Beaumont children remains one of the most haunting mysteries in Australian history. Each detail is steeped in both sadness and intrigue, inspiring compassion and a longing for resolution. In the late 1970s, a wave of fear swept through California as a serial rapist, later dubbed the East Area Rapist, terrorized communities. This individual, who operated primarily in the Sacramento area, committed a series of heinous crimes that would bring lasting impacts on those affected. The East Area Rapist was not just a criminal. He became a symbol of fear and a case that would linger in the public consciousness for decades. His criminal activities began around 1976 and included a series of home invasions where he would approach couples at night, often with shocking violence. Over the course of several years, he is believed to have committed more than 50 rapes and several murders, which added a layer of terror to his already alarming profile. Victims described the man as agile and athletic, which allowed him to navigate into homes undetected. His cunning and calculated methods kept law enforcement on high alert as they struggled to find leads and connect the dots. One of the notable characteristics of the East Area Rapist was his tendency to taunt his victims and the police. He would often leave behind clues, including items from the victims' homes, creating a chilling, taunting game that heightened the stakes for both the victims and law enforcement. He often escalated his violence, leading local authorities to believe that he was becoming bolder over time. Each encounter seemed to provide him with a sense of power, and with each incident, the local communities became increasingly anxious and suspicious. The media played a crucial role in the unfolding narrative of the East Area Rapist. News coverage was extensive, with reporters investigating every aspect of the crimes, trying to provide information that could potentially help in capturing the perpetrator. It became common to discuss the serial rapist over lunch, in coffee shops, and during social gatherings. The fear he instilled was palpable, leading to multiple community meetings aimed at spreading awareness and cautioning residents about safety measures. As the years passed, more incidents linked to the East Area Rapist surfaced, including several homicides that further solidified his reign of terror. Each crime scene revealed a pattern, yet investigators were continuously met with dead ends. The frustrating streak of no arrests led many to believe that the East Area Rapist would never face justice, and the community tension. Victims shared their harrowing accounts, and together they painted a disturbing portrait of a mastermind who thrived on chaos. In a significant turn of events, the case remained alive due to a devoted team of detectives and forensic advancements. Everyone from survivors to journalists continued to follow leads, hoping that technological innovations in DNA testing might one day unearth the identity of this elusive criminal. Over the years, new forensic technologies allowed for a meticulous re-examination of evidence that had been collected decades earlier. As DNA testing became more sophisticated, hope began to kindle that the perpetrator might finally be identified. The breakthrough came in 2018, when law enforcement announced that they had identified the East Area Rapist as Joseph James DeDangelo, a former police officer. The revelation shocked many who believed the case would remain unsolved forever. The use of genealogical DNA testing had allowed investigators to trace the lineage of the suspect, leading them to build a family tree that would ultimately connect back to him. DeDangelo's arrest was a watershed moment in the investigation, bringing both relief and a sense of justice for the survivors of his crime. DeDangelo's identification was not only a victory for law enforcement, but also a moment of closure for countless victims and their families. Many had lived with the trauma of his actions for decades, and the knowledge that he was finally apprehended allowed for reflections on resilience, survival, and the enduring human spirit. It underscored the importance of modern investigative techniques and the lengths to which communities will go to seek justice for heinous acts. The East Area Rapist case provides a profound lesson on the complex and often heartbreaking tapestry of justice, community response, and the effect of crime on the human psyche. It speaks to the power of perseverance, not just in the realm of law enforcement, but in the lives of those touched by tragedy. As communities reflect on the history of the East Area Rapist and the impact of his actions, they unite in a collective vow to foster safer environments, ensuring that the past serves as a guide for future prevention. The narrative of this case, rooted in fear and pain, ultimately culminates in a triumphant pursuit of justice that spans decades. It reminds us that the pursuit of the truth and accountability is a journey worth taking, no matter how long it may be. In the quiet town of Springfield, Missouri, a perplexing mystery emerged in 1992 that continues to baffle investigators and intrigue true crime enthusiasts today. This story revolves around the eerie disappearance of 3 women, a case that has left an indelible mark on the community and raised questions that remain unanswered even decades later. The 3 women in question were Susie Streeter, Stacy McCall, and Cheryl Levitt. On the night of June 6, 1992, the lives of these women took a chilling turn. Susie and Stacy were young friends, both fresh out of high school and ready to embrace the world. They were excited about the possibilities that lay ahead. Cheryl, Susie's mother, was a caring and supportive figure in their lives. That night, as the sun set and darkness enveloped Springfield, the 3 women were last seen at their home. The evening seemed typical at first. They had planned a fun night together, perhaps filled with laughter and stories. However, the next morning, a sense of foreboding settled over their neighborhood. Friends began to grow concerned as hours turned into a day with no sign of the 3 women. Their cars remained parked outside, and the doors to their home were unlocked. This was not just an unusual occurrence. It was the start of a mystery that would grip the nation. As the investigation began, it quickly became apparent that something was dreadfully wrong. The local police launched a search that would span not just days, but weeks. They reached out to the community, urging anyone with information to come forward. Posters of the missing women began to appear on street corners and in businesses around town, showing their bright faces and a plea for help. The absence of these women weighed heavily on the hearts of many. Reports from friends and family painted a picture of fear and uncertainty. What could have happened in the few hours that turned a lively gathering into a haunting disappearance? Various theories emerged. Some speculated that the women had gone on a spontaneous trip, while others feared they might have encountered something more sinister. Days turned into weeks, and still there was no trace. Law enforcement officers tirelessly followed leads. They interviewed neighbors, friends, and acquaintances. News crews flocked to Springfield, bringing attention to the case from beyond Missouri. Each new piece of information sparked hope, only to be met with disappointment. A community that once felt safe now wrestled with fear, uncertainty, and the sorrow of the unknown. As time passed, the lack of evidence deepened the mystery. Searches of the local area, including rural land, parks, and nearby waterways, yielded little. Speculation ran rampant. Some wondered if the women had encountered foul play, while others held onto the hope that they had simply decided to leave on their own terms. Each scenario seemed equally plausible, yet far from satisfying. In the years that followed, the case continued to receive sporadic attention. Every few years, there would be a renewed effort to solve the mystery. New leads would emerge, only to fade away into silence. The women's families became advocates, refusing to let their story be forgotten. They organized vigils and participated in community events, ensuring that the memories of Susie, Stacy, and Cheryl lived on in the minds of the public. As the decades passed, advancements in forensic science offered a glimmer of hope. Cold case teams began to revisit the case, applying new techniques to old evidence. With each new piece of technology, the potential for breakthroughs grew, yet the answers remained elusive. The case still sits with investigators today, a haunting reminder of the complexity of human experience and the depth of the mysteries that can arise from seemingly ordinary lives. Coming back to the town of Springfield, one cannot ignore the shadow that this case casts over the community. Haunted by the memory of what once was, the residents often share stories of that summer, the lingering sense of unease in a place that used to feel safe. It has transformed the town in ways that cannot be quantified. People might cross the street, exchange wary glances, or speak in hushed tones about that fateful night. The Springfield Three have become a part of local folklore, a tale of vanished lives that captures the imagination while illustrating the darker aspects of existence. They remind us of life's unpredictability and the fragile nature of security we often take for granted. Even today, the hope that novel approaches in investigative techniques, public interest, and awareness may eventually shed light on the mystery persists. With the years rolling forward, the plea for answers remains strong. The Springfield Three are not just names. They symbolize the pain of loss and the struggle for closure. This mystery teaches us resilience in the face of uncertainty and emphasizes the importance of community in times of turmoil. The story of Susie Streeter, Stacy McCall, and Cheryl Levitt transcends the boundaries of a simple missing persons case. It reflects the deep emotional bonds of family and friendship, the haunting nature of the unknown, and the intrinsic human desire for answers. It is a reminder that every person has a story, and sometimes those stories come to an unexpected and tragic end. And as Springfield continues to grapple with the mystery of their disappearance, one cannot help but hold on to hope that one day the truth will be revealed. The questions of what happened on that fateful night linger, urging individuals to remain vigilant and compassionate for one another in an uncertain world. On the morning of April 18, 2016, the quiet community of Midlothian, Texas, was rocked by an event that would spark intrigue, speculation, and sorrow. A fitness instructor, Missy Bivers, was found murdered inside the Creekside Church. As details unfolded, the nature of the investigation took on a bizarre and gripping narrative, primarily due to the haunting surveillance footage captured on that fateful morning. Missy Bevers was beloved in her community. She was known for her dedication, not only to fitness, but also to helping others achieve their health goals. Her enthusiasm and warmth made her classes popular among local residents. That morning, Missy had arrived early to prepare for a workout class she was scheduled to teach. However, in a tragic turn, she would never make it to her class. The eerie footage that surfaced from the church's surveillance cameras provided an unsettling glimpse into the events leading up to her death. What viewers saw was a figure adorned in tactical gear, moving quietly through the hallways of the church. The individual wore a helmet and a face mask, obscuring their identity, which only added to the chilling nature of the video. Unlike the typical hustle and bustle expected at a busy fitness venue, the church appeared desolate and still, punctuated only by the unsettling presence of this mysterious figure. The footage showed this person walking through the church, stopping intermittently, as if searching for something, or perhaps someone. The figure's movements were calculated and deliberate, creating a stark contrast to the serene environment of the church early that day. As the video was released to the public, it not only raised questions about the identity and motives of the intruder, but also ignited a sense of urgency among law enforcement and the community to solve this harrowing case. The investigation quickly garnered attention from local media and beyond. In a small town, the murder of someone so beloved struck at the heart of the community. As detectives sifted through clues and potential leads, they focused heavily on identifying the mysterious figure in the video. With each passing day, the sense of urgency grew, along with the speculation and theories surrounding what may have happened that morning. Community members rallied together, holding vigils and sharing information in hopes that someone might remember a detail to help piece together the puzzle. The image of the person in tactical gear became symbolic of the uncertainty and fear that gripped Midlothian. Who is this individual? What could have motivated such an act in a place meant for peace and fitness? Throughout the investigation, several avenues were explored, including potential suspects and motives related to personal relationships. Theories about Missy's life, her connections, and her background emerged as a way to understand the circumstances surrounding her untimely death. However, as weeks turned into months, the case remained unsolved, leaving investigators and the community frustrated but determined. The lingering question continued to haunt those who followed the case. Why would someone target a fitness instructor in a church? Theories circulated, ranging from personal vendettas to random acts of violence. Each theory inevitably steered back to the complexities of human emotions and relationships, further adding to the bewilderment surrounding the case. As time passed, the story of Missy Bevers became symbolic of broader issues, prompting conversations about community and safety, trust and betrayal. The case also highlighted the impact of violent crime on small communities, where everyone knows each other, and a sense of security is often taken for granted. Even in the face of adversity, the community of Midlothian showed resilience. They continued to honor Missy's memory, rallying around her family and ensuring that her legacy lived on. Efforts to keep the case alive in public memory resulted in community events aimed at promoting safety and awareness. The creepy allure of the surveillance footage stirred discussions about the use of technology in solving crimes. In a world where cameras are omnipresent, could the very footage that captured the suspect also hold the key to solving the case? As advancements in forensic technology developed, hope persisted that new techniques might uncover fresh leads, making it possible to unravel the chilling mystery surrounding this unsolved murder. Despite the passage of time, the quest for answers remained unforgotten. The investigation was not just about finding justice for Missy Bevers. It became a beacon of hope for the countless families who live with the uncertainty of unsolved cases. Thus, though the day she was tragically taken from her loved ones was marked by darkness, Missy Beaver's story illuminated the power of a community coming together. It left an indelible mark, not only on her friends and family, but also on a town that would continue to search for the truth, hoping for closure and peace. The Missy Beavers case serves as a reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of vigilance within our communities. It showcases humanity's shared desire to seek justice and the determination to never forget those who have been lost. As we reflect on this unsettling narrative, we remember Missy and the lives she touched, forever holding on to the hope that answers may one day emerge from the shadows. Albert Fish, a name that sends chills down the spine of even the most hardened true crime enthusiasts, was a figure whose life and deeds have become the stuff of urban legend and folklore. Often referred to as the Gray Man, Fish's story is one of horror, obsession, and the darkest corners of human psychology that fascinate and terrify at the same time. Born in 1870 in Washington, D.C., Fish had a troubled childhood. He was raised in a family that struggled with mental illness, a theme that would later echo throughout his life. His father, a caregiver, passed away when he was quite young, leaving Fish in the care of his mother, who was deeply religious and believed in strict discipline. This environment undoubtedly shaped his young mind, fostering the complex, twisted personality that would emerge in adulthood. As Fish grew older, he began to exhibit peculiar and disturbing behaviors. His childhood was marked by instances of cruelty, not just to animals, but also to himself. He engaged in self-harm, often as a means of experiencing pain in a warped sense of fulfillment. By the time he reached adulthood, Fish was living in New York City, where he became enveloped in the darker aspects of society. Fish's life took a turn into the truly sinister when he became involved in acts of cannibalism and murder. His crimes were characterized by an unsettling brutality and an eerie, almost ritualistic methodology. Unlike many criminals who operate from a place of rage or desperation, Fish's motivations appeared more sadistic, almost deriving pleasure from the horror he inflicted. He would often target young children, luring them into his grasp with promises of money or sweet treats, showcasing a deceptive charm that only highlighted the true monstrosity within. One of the most infamous cases involved a young girl named Grace Bud Day. In 1928, Fish convinced Grace's parents that he was taking her to a birthday party. Instead, he took her to an abandoned home, where he committed unspeakable acts before taking her life and ultimately consuming parts of her body. The story of Grace Bud would eventually lead to Fish's capture, but it also painted a portrait of a man who had long since descended into the depths of madness. Fish's capture was not the end of his notoriety. After his arrest, he was subjected to extensive psychological evaluations. Experts at the time struggled to comprehend his mental state, with some labeling him a sadist, while others speculated about his psychosis. His own confessions were chillingly detailed, as he recounted his crimes in a matter-of-fact manner, revealing the desensitization to violence and suffering that defined his existence. The Gray Man moniker, attributed to Fish, stems from his gaunt figure and his penchant for wearing gray clothing. This peculiar choice of attire has given birth to various urban legends surrounding him, enhancing his status as a figure of terror. Many accounts describe him as being ghostly or shadow-like, stealing away in the night as he stalked his victims. This ghostly appearance, coupled with his heinous acts, has contributed to a lasting cultural fascination with his life and crimes. The trial of Albert Fish in 1935 captured nationwide attention as details of his monstrous crimes began to unfold in the courtroom. People were outraged, horrified, not just by what Fish had done, but also by the revelation that someone so seemingly ordinary could harbor such evil. His trial became a spectacle, with spectators eager to catch a glimpse of the man who had terrorized a community and devastated countless families. While Fish was eventually found guilty of murder and was sentenced to death, his lingering presence is felt in the aura of mystery that surrounds him. Discussions around his psychological profile often explore the complex interplay between mental illness and inherent depravity, sparking debates about nature versus nurture. Did the experiences of his childhood lead him down this ghastly path, or was there something inherently sinister in his character? The Gray Man mystery endures not just because of the horror he enacted, but because of the unanswered questions that remain about his psyche and the nature of evil itself. Historians and criminologists have continued to dissect his life in an effort to glean insights into the mind of a killer, pondering what dark motivations could drive a person to such extremes. Today, stories of Albert Fish are told in hushed tones, often around campfires or in the eerie light of glowing screens, where true crime aficionados gather to enjoy the macabre. Despite the passage of time, the chilling essence of Fish's deeds transcends generations, serving as a grim reminder of the darkness that can lurk within society. He has become a symbol in discussions about the nature of evil, a ghost haunting the edges of collective memory. As we explore the legacy of Albert Fish, it becomes clear that the mystery surrounding the Gray Man is not just about one man's heinous acts. It is about the broader question of human nature. How can one go so far into an abyss of violence? The nuances of his story provoke thought, leaving us grappling with the dark complexities of human existence and the chilling truth that even the most ordinary among us can harbor unfathomable darkness. The fascination with his life is not merely about the horror of his actions, but an invitation to understand the intricacies of the human condition, forever attempting to distinguish the light from the overwhelming shadow.